This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG Willie Mason. And Mase, let's get straight into what our little mate over there's nickname is going to be. I've got 5 or 6 options here from our fans, and let's kick it off. So, this one comes from Selwyn Farepapa, Lukey the Stowaway. New nickname.
Stowaway?
All right, let's wait until we hear them all, and then you can give me your final one. Daniel Scott, OG, Skip, and the bro. Nice and easy. Diehard Dogs fan, love the podcast. Keep up the good work, fellas. RG Dub, Luke was a doctor, so Doc. When were
you a doctor?
It must be a biblical thing. I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's a.
He could be a doctor.
You were a doctor.
I'm like,
You've
has
said
he
that
got
you're
a side
doctor.
hustle going on?
Okay, that makes sense.
Look, he's got a side hustle of Ben
I don't hate that then.
Doogie Howser.
Can we?
I just like Lukey. I just stick with Lukey.
Easy. It's not up to you.
Like-
You don't get your own nicknames. OG's going to come up with it. The bro, Lukey Stowe's Samoan name is Lukisi Sto'o.
Kissy.
Lukisi Sto'o is fucking
I like
all
Sto'o.
time.
I'll take stock.
That's cool, that.
Poro Rangi, Luke in Māori is Ruka.
Ruka.
And Uzo unknown, Uzo. Triple OG Wiramu Viliamu. Horo the Skipper Scope. And the Uso Lukey the Luka. Eh? And he goes like this, Luke equals, that's what he's written after it. Luka in Samoa pronounced Luka. I don't know if the bro Luka has a missus,
Lukisi.
but if Luka the Luka...
My mum would call you that. Lukisi.
Lukisi?
Yeah.
But if Lukey the Luka sticks, then she might have some issues with that nickname if she's a Polynesian girl. Let's all have a moment of silence for the Uso Lukey the Luka. Keep up the good work, Usos.
Let's have a think about
All
that.
right, so do we like Lukisi?
I think if we introduce him, we could just say, Lukisi and Wiramu and Hoz and Horo.
I like Daniel Scott. OG skipping the bro Lukey stuff.
Bro, yeah. I like that.
It's smooth. It rolls nice.
That's smooth.
I feel like I'm playing into it too much.
I feel like
as an
that-
Aussie if I'm taking a
Yeah.
Māori
I feel
or an
like
Islander name.
You can't go full poly.
Nah.
But I love Lukisi Sto'o.
I feel like it's that could be a shirt.
Yeah.
Like the bro, like
OG skipping the bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually
that could just
Magic
be,
Round 2025.
yeah.
that could be a Magic
Triple
Round
OG,
shirt.
Skip, and Lukey, and the bro Lukey Stowe.
Yeah.
I think that just that rolls.
Yeah,
off
that's
the
all right.
tongue.
We'll go with that. Good
All right,
work.
we'll stick with it. That's the nicknames for Lukey. Let's go to you, Mase.
Yep.
And this is banking Mace's one-liners. So Michael Joblin wrote this in. Hey guys, I think I could get a one-liner from the big fella each week. At the end of the year, play them one after another in a best of. This week's, as soon as I heard it, wingers don't even know what the score is out there chatting away was absolute gold. Shout out to Michael Joblin. Mate, you were in a, like me and Lukey were talking about after the show. You were on a heater on Monday as well. This one comes from Product Review. Public safety announcement. If you're at the gym listening to Levels and Mase is on like he was for this potty, think about maybe listening later. The big man had me dropping weights mid-set with laughter multiple times. And this one comes from Spicy Yoda. My favourite part of Levels is when you guys are doing the intros and giving recaps of the games. OG starts getting excited and breaking down the game, then says, don't worry, we'll break it down later. Then continues to break the game down. Scope chimes in with, yeah, we'll get to that later. Then Willie goes, yeah. But I'm just saying, and keeps breaking the game down.
Then we'll break it down again.
Oh, keep up the good work, lads. L1 from day one. I just want to thank everyone who has, written comments, been engaging with us to start the season so far. Remember, if you're new to the show, it really helps out if you like and subscribe to the show. It really helps our engagement on YouTube. Apple and Spotify, Lukey said, have been flying at the moment. And we've got, off the back of just 4 absolute gold clips from the big fella over the weekend, you've got a shitload of followers. I got heaps.
Yeah,
I got like 500 from your clips.
Because as I said, I just told on the group chat, said just let me know when we need to collab, and then get on, press it, and then just erase it straight away. And then I did it last night. I went, fuck, what's happening here? It just went off the Payne Haas one, and that was just me just talking about Payne. It was good. It was just an honest opinion, and most of the ones that go like I think viral or whatever, it's just like what I've been just not. I don't plan it. It just fucking comes in this head and it just goes fucking bang. Thank fuck someone sorted out how to play Payne Haas.
It's always the
couple of little
perfect
stories here and there.
If you don't go chasing like
No, I don't know how to
viral
do that.
clips,
I'm
and
not sitting there studying, but I just know it's been in my head for the last couple of years. I'm like, I don't like how Payne Haas has been played for so many years. Like because I know when he has been playing, and I think there was a couple of times in Origin where he's destroyed Origin because he get 30 minutes out better than anyone, and he won't fatigue.
When you look, so if you look back at Payne specifically, we were critical of Madge for the reasons that you said that are working for him in not getting the man of the match. Now that is, remember when he was like the man of the match in game 2, he was destroying Queensland through the middle. Madge took him off because he knew that it's for the betterment of the team. It's betterment for Payne Haas. Now it cost you the man of the match prediction because Payne Haas would have won it if he kept him on
because he was on a tear.
But if you want to get the best out of Payne Haas and your footy team, then that's the way to do it with Payne, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I saw something. I saw a bit of a Tino. I've been watching Tino's recovery. Yeah. I've been watching that. It's been pretty good. Like he's been over the States, and then they had a little thing like where him and Payne Haas are like been going at it when they had that little bit of a fight with that awesome photo where Payne's shirt's ripped and he's like, fucking come with fucking old school. I love
2020
it.
series?
Newcastle boy, mate. He's a Newey boy, old Payne Haas. Yeah. He's got that in him. I don't know when it was, but they were both young bulls. And, you know, Tino missing out on that rep season and how much it like fucking killed him, you know what I mean? And just to get back in, because he's Queensland's enforcer, mate. There was no one even going near stopping Payne Haas last year.
Yeah, they're forced.
You know who can?
Liam Martin.
You know who can? Is Tino. He's not scared. He'll have a crack at everything. I think with Payne Haas back, with Tino back, I can't wait for Origin.
Yeah, same.
They're gonna. It's gonna.
The bra, horse bra.
Fucking horse bra's going to be
Tommy
around.
Gilbert.
Tommy Gilbert, Cam Munster.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like Origin's obviously going to be talked about, you know, for ages, but this is like now. I'm just thinking, fuck, let's not get carried away with our win. We had a good win, but they still got one game on us, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, we did have 12 players, and they're going to have full deck now.
Yeah. Nath was missing for New South Wales.
Yeah,
so
well, that's massive.
That's scary.
Isn't it?
Latrell only played one game, and he was fucking outstanding in that game. Tommy Turbo.
I think Origin's at its most even now.
It's going to be awesome.
Very even. But
you know what? Going back quickly to like the popularity of the episode, it's round 1. That's obvious. The Brisbane Broncos fan base is the sleeping giant of the NRL community.
It's a whole Queensland.
They are well and truly awake now after that performance and Madge, and people they love it when you talk about the middle third. When you talk about big boys setting the tone, those clips always do well. Yeah. And that's just something, like I said, we don't force that.
No, it's facts, right?
That's what you love watching.
Yeah.
That's, those are the efforts and the people you love talking about.
And if you bring back any like when I was playing, like you could break down any try and you could blame the middle. If you didn't set the stand, if you didn't work hard from Marco, if you didn't work from A and B, everything like that. I was even with the Harold Mats the other day, and we're talking about defense and that. And I said, look, we went through, me and the great ogre, Marco Mealy, we're going through every try, and I'm like, because the markers didn't move quick enough to put pressure on the 9, the A didn't come up and put pressure on the ball player. I said, look, half a metre, the great Danny Badiris taught me this when I was young, half a metre here is 5 metres out wide.
Yeah.
Why do you think they keep just getting us on the edge? No inside pressure. The more inside pressure you put and make them play early, everyone can make their decisions. And this happens from fucking under 16s, 17s all the way to the NRL. The NRL are the cream of the crop at that, and Penrith are the best at it.
So good.
They're so good at it. So you watch how much pressure they put. And then I just love watching it get executed by the good teams, the great teams.
Well, if you pay attention to that too, it's all the stuff all those little nuggets that basically are given here. So there will be a lot of criticism. Well, there has been a lot of criticism around the edges, specifically the halves for the Roosters. Yeah. Keep an eye on the middles for Penrith against the Sydney Roosters on the weekend, how well they do defensively, but also how well I guess Isaiah Yeo dictates through the middle, which allows them to strip them on the edge. Watch out for it. Look out for it.
And
so
watch
listen
out
to Mason and then watch out for it.
And then watch out for like a lot of the ball movement and not much one-out football from the good teams, right? They just won't go straight into the teeth of it. They'll get a little bit wider, away from the markers, away from A and B. They're getting at your 3-man, which is the C defender, so A, B, C, and nearly at your 4-man. So if you don't have guys that are smart to travel around, and because you're trying to get your 4-man, you're trying to get Liam Martin at marker.
Time up.
Yeah, time up.
Get
A big boy has to travel around. Hopefully a rookie or someone who's just come on and doesn't really understand, defensive principles.
Yep, short side principles.
Yeah, and then you'll get like your Clearys and your Reece Walshes go, bang, and just attack. And then they'll come back again. It's just like they're hitting you with waves now. So I told you before, like the game has evolved and it's gone forward again because they're acclimated to the pace of the game, and it's scary if you can't dominate the middle. You know what I mean? So like if anyone who loses that ascendancy in the middle, they're going to get pumped. And like look what happened to Parramatta, to North Queensland, to the Roosters.
Yep.
Their middles got decimated.
Yeah,
so the edges everyone ends up crawling in, and then like your 3-mans, which are your halves guys, get isolated. And then the center's just like looking at fucking 3 or 4 people around the back. It's scary, but that's what I mean. If you have the best middles in the game, 3 or 4 teams that I'm looking at Manly, I'm looking at Penrith, I'm looking at Brisbane, and I'm looking at Melbourne. Best middles in the game.
Yeah.
And look at it. And our Dogs, we don't have the biggest big names and everything, but we attack in numbers. We attack in numbers.
Yep.
Our first contact is what? We're playing against Tino this week, right? I'm like, can I just go to Sam Hughes or Max King, go take Tino on?
Probably not.
Probably not. But I'm like, can I get Max King there, get the first contact, grab the ball, then I get Kurt Mann, smack him in the ribs, then legs,
Josh
and then
Curran, Jacob Preston coming
and attack in numbers.
Yeah.
I can get
Marnie.
that.
Yep.
I can get that.
Yep.
But I don't want anyone. When you get your Payne Haas's, when you get your Tinos, when you get your big dominant big men, you just got to fucking get more numbers in. Stop the offload.
It's a battle of opposites, that game, isn't it?
Yeah, man. It is. They're big. Fodawaker. Fucking Big
Reggie,
yep, and
Fafita,
both for more. Tino, both for more. Like, take your pick, really.
Yeah,
they got a big team and
good size, but they play as individuals.
Then you got pace, right? Don't sleep on these guys. They showed glimpses of what they could do against the Dolphins in that trial. Then but as I said, when you win field position, the Titans were killing it, right? We try and win all that field position and just strangle you like an anaconda. Just
kick the corner. Keanu Kinney in that left edge.
And be relentless.
Coming out.
Hustle more people in the picture.
Don't allow Tino to get the ball until the 3rd or 4th tackle.
Fuck, as soon as he gets it, mate, I want line speed, and you've got to get him.
Yep.
Try and get him at marker. You know what I mean? It's nothing worse. When I was playing. Nothing worse than getting tackled by a marker.
It's the pits,
because the mark, someone gets you, and then the A or B's flogging you. Yeah. Trying to really level you. So, yeah, it'd be interesting game with forward packs. And that is so important now, forward packs, how well they move, how fit they are.
Well, that comes back to good coaching, which flows into what we're talking about here, mate. And this is with regards to, we talked about, I guess, the message from Robbo after all this time at the Roosters. Is it getting a bit stale? And then we referred to Wayne. Wayne has done a really good job, and Craig Bellamy, I guess, but also Wayne has shifted clubs over the years, which could have factored into his decision and moving, having the same playing group and the same message. This one comes from Daniel Robinson, who, by the way, was a comment of the week for Kieran Foran a little bit later on as well. Hey, boys, Wayne Bennett moving clubs. His greatest influence as a coach was Jack Gibson. One of Jack's famous quotes was that a coach has 3 years at a club with the same group of players before they stop listening. The great Warren Ryan also referenced that quote whenever he was questioned about his various coaching moves between clubs. There are always expectations. Obviously, Wayne's original 21-year stint at the Broncos is one exception. He doesn't mention it, but Bellamy is the ultimate outlier. But even Wayne has basically followed that mantra since 2008. 3 to 4 year stints, Dragons, Knights, brought back to the Broncos, obviously the Rabbitohs, a stint at the Dolphins. He's never really done outside of...
Well, I mean, like he did 20 years at the Broncos.
Yeah, so that starts it off. But then from that point...
I think once you can put 20 years in, you can go and pick and choose what you want, right?
Of course.
I think, and he did the work, and he had, six premierships before he left.
Yeah.
He's set in stone. He could coach for however long he wants, and so could Bellamy, because he's at that same level. I think he's second best coach of all time.
Do you think it's not, or like a factor could be, all right, maybe the message can only last so long?
I think longer than 3. I reckon 3 back. You know, when you're talking about Jack Gibson, you're talking back in the 80s.
So we're 4 or 5 now?
I think 5.
Yeah, 5.
I think you're giving 5. I think because you got to have a couple of years. I just say Jason Rolls at the moment. It ain't. You want to give this guy 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's the only look. Ciro, 3rd year.
Yeah.
2nd year started getting some results. This year, sort of dealing with it. You know, and then you got to win a comp then.
Yeah.
After they'll give you 5 years to try and win a comp, give you a good roster and do everything for you. Then you start going, all right, are they listening? Are they evolving? Is the coaching good enough? You know, like they'll look at Rolsey if he's like getting pumped all year this year, don't even look like improving. Next year, new roster, you know, still the same result, then it's the coach, right? Where Ciro, there's no one there from 2023.
Yeah.
So he's got a whole new roster. He's got all his people in there. So that's hence why we're going decent, right? Because he's got his people in there. Wayne Bennett, him moving clubs, I think at an older sort of person when he left the Brisbane Broncos. I'm not sure how old he was. What was it, after 2009? So I think he would have been, just say, late 50s, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then 3 years there. And as I told you before, like if he doesn't get full control and he feels like, because he had full control at Brisbane from that whole time he was there. And the game has changed and evolved. There's been more board members. There's all this sort of shit. So it's like, if you don't fall underneath like Wayne Bennett and listen, if he feels like there's someone else controlling, pulling the strings and all this sort of shit, I'm talking from recruitment. I'm talking everything. He needs to know everything what's going on.
Yeah.
And he trusts a couple of people. Sorry, Lukey.
58.
So late
when he
50s,
left the Bronx in 08.
So you know, he needs all those sort of things. It wasn't happening at St George. You know, and then big money comes from Newcastle. Newcastle happens. We get to a prelim in that year. Sort of falls over. The Alex McKinnon thing sort of really rattled everyone. Rattled him, and he's like, "Oh, I want to go back home." You know, he goes back to Brisbane, gets to a grand final.
Do you think it's also at his age and all this success he's had, and you know him better than most, it's just refreshing for him to sort of start over with a new roster as well?
And understand
and a new challenge?
Understand Wayne Bennett and his history. He's a country boy. You know what I mean? Like he's from out the country, loves going back to his farm.
Clearly loves the game.
Loves the game, loves hanging out.
Players.
And I think if he retires from the game, Wayne Bennett will be automatically old. He'll automatically, and you know what I mean? I love Wayne, mate. I love him. Yeah, I love just sitting there and just like having a chat with him. Like I go to his house and like it's. I told you before, like he's got this massive big table. I'm up this end, he's all the way up there where Lukey is, and we're just having a conversation. He don't drink coffee, he don't do anything, so we're just drinking orange juice or something like that, and just talking about like life, right? He got me into coaching. Yeah, he did.
Like, he suggested it to you.
He suggested it. He goes, "Willie, what do you got?" And I was doing a few things. He goes, the game needs you, mate. You know, someone like you got a story to tell. You've done everything in the game, but you've got fucking life skills. And he goes, you don't waste your time. You know what I mean? He goes, and that's when I sort of started making the phone calls and talking to Gus. And Gus goes, yeah, I want you. Then it sort of just really snowballed. And I was like, and I'm very aware of that. You know, I thank him for that, for the opportunities for me getting into the Bulldogs. I thank Gus for giving the opportunity. We sat there, you know what I mean? Then levels come along, then look what's come along in the last 3 years because of that one move and just sort of made, you know, light bulb sort of moment. Yeah, so I can add to the game somewhere. Don't want to be a head coach or anything like that, but I can make a difference with the younger kids
pass on a lot of knowledge.
I can't have all this knowledge. Yeah, I'm 44 years old, nearly 45, like life experiences and everything like that. I'm like, I can't just be like sitting and watching TV and doing a podcast and going, oh, fucking blah, blah. No, I want to do something about it. Or I want to do something. I want to help the kids. I want to help the game. I want to help the game grow. So, like, he was the main reason. We sat there and he goes, "You got to get back in the game, son."
Love that. He would have been a big part of Sammy doing it as well over at Warrington. And,
he was
passing on the knowledge.
Yeah, he goes, "You just, you know, like life skills." He goes, "This is an era where a lot of these young kids don't have the life skills to deal with a lot of bullshit that's going on in this world where you have. You've dealt with a lot. He goes, you can now, you've lived through it. You're good. And you get to pass that knowledge on. So, yeah, he was a big reason. But back to the coaching with Wayne, I think it makes him feel young. He just evolves and evolves and evolves. Like with the whole game, just say in the late 80s, right? And then the whole late 90s, and then the game went professional, Super League, all this sort of stuff. Then the Polynesians come in and stuff like, and everyone's thinking like, Wayne, how's he evolved and that? They love him more than anyone. The brothers love him more than that because he's just a normal fucking person. You're petrified at the start, but then you understand that he's just a real person who actually really cares about you, And so that's the mistake about Wayne Bennett. It's because he fucking actually cares.
Well, see, that's where I think's a part of it as well. Like hearing people that have played for him talk like you talk about it, Mase, where he genuinely has a love for his playing group and a really good connection with his players. So if you do change teams, you get that opportunity with 30 different players almost every 3 or 4 years.
And he loves that.
And you get to, have an impact on a young player's life, not only on the footy field, but potentially the way that, you've heard stories around Jimmy Roberts talking about him and his stints with him and a young Gags has talked highly about it. So all these players with different backgrounds.
From Wendell, Wendell, all the way back then.
Like obviously
Gordon Tallis. I mean, I don't know, him and Gordy had a little bit of fucking beef, but like Gordy fucking loves him. And like, they're just both stubborn old men. Gordy loves him, but he's had his beef with him. But yeah, there's not one person. Anyway, probably maybe Gordy said he's got, because Gordy's a strong personality, right? If you piss him off, he's going to fucking tell you. He doesn't bow down to anyone. He's fucking the raging bull.
The raging bull.
Yeah. And, he's a legend. But the coaching thing, let's get back to that. Like the 3 years? I think it's a lot longer. I think it's a little bit longer.
So this all started when we were talking about Robbo. To be fair, like we just talked about the example of Robbo and the message, and he's
13 years.
Yeah, he's the complete opposite. Like he's gone a really long time. I remember last year I compared Brad Arthur and Robbo to this. Had long stints. Yeah. Robbo with more success, and people took it the wrong way that I was comparing the two in stature. But I'm just talking about the length at which they're coaching and how a message can go. I guess start to go Star Wars.
Deaf ears, mate.
Deaf ears, yeah.
And like he's got a whole new squad there now, pretty much. But like, I know what players are like, right? They're looking at Wayne Bennett, they're looking at Craig Bellamy, Ricky Stewart, all these great guys. They've played the game. They've played the game at the highest level, right? So when you're looking at a coach, like you just say, if you won 3 premierships and that, they'll still look at your resume and go, "What have you done?"
You reckon?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I fucking know it. Like they just but because he's got those runs on the board and he's won.
With the premierships.
He's won the premierships and everything like that. So you buy into it for a certain amount of years. Now he's at his biggest test of coaching because he got given nearly a premiership side straight away in 2013 and he fucking nailed it. And the last 10 years, he could have easily jagged 5 premierships.
You know what I mean? Like done... my biggest criticism on the Roosters is they had a roster that should have done better than what they did in the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. At least another one. At least least 4 to 5 in that tenure because they had
stacked roster.
The stacked roster. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So
let's actually, sorry to cut you off. I'm going to get back to it. We're going to come back to Robbo in a bit. We'll go to the next little bit. Actually, let's get straight into it because this is referring to Robbo, and then I guess we can leave that one and we'll get to the Dally M voting after. Yeah. So let's get straight to YouTube questions. This one comes from Joey DW. Question for the lads. You briefly touched on the blistering performances of Terrell May and Satili Tupouniua over the weekend. At what point will Trent Robinson be held accountable for the Roosters side not meeting expectations? Now, I don't want this to be a total Robbo bash-up, but I think we can be critical and have valid. I think some of the points are valid, and then also I just think he's just a really angry Roosters fan at the moment as well with the performance of the weekend.
Of one game.
So his performance in the post-match pressure was embarrassing. Then what was shown on the football field, sidestepping valid questions from journos and effectively telling supporters to trust the process after staring down the barrel of a 50-point defeat. At this point, I think he'd better be served in politics rather than coaching a rugby league side. All right, let's break it down in points, all right?
Politics.
Joey DW. This is, you can't, if you watch the episode on Monday, the way that he presents himself to the media as a player could be completely different the way he approaches the playing group, Mase, right? Like the things that he said to the media to, I guess, in a way, what you're saying is deflecting is you don't want to talk about what the main issues are to the media. Why would you want to tell the media what the main issues are? You need to address that as a playing group in video and review. That's when it needs to be done.
The media get the fucking piss answers. That's it.
Everyone gives them those, except for maybe Ricky, who's probably too emotional. He tells you exactly how he feels.
Totally different person. That's a totally different human, that one.
This is another point that I'll get you to sort of chat about, Mase. I've watched him single-handedly run this team into the core of the earth the past 5 years since Cronk retired. The mishandling of Brandon Smith, to date, I think Fletcher's the only one who's come out and called out the fact that Robbo never played him properly, as well as forcing Terrell May out the door, should be the final nail in the coffin for his tenure at the Chooks. The next little bit is, was Chad Townsend really meant to be the answer? Joey, no. Chad was always brought there to be the backup behind Sam Walker and Sandon Smith.
Is this Joey Johns?
This is no, this is Joey DW. The Chad Townsend signing, and he's copping a lot at the moment. I reckon it's unfair because he was always brought there to be the backup. Sam Walker got injured and did his ACL 3 weeks after he announced he was to be signed. Chad Townsend was probably supposed to be playing New South Wales Cup at this point. So but
he is a 200 gamer and a premiership winner. Yeah,
of course. But like when you look at it, and Joey's asking the question, was he meant to be the answer? No, he wasn't. He was never meant to. He was supposed to be a solid backup at this point of his career, mate. Yes. And he's been thrust into there with an average lineup so far. So I'm not super critical of Robbo in that signing and the way it's looking and the way it could look on the weekend because, in my opinion, he was never brought there to be the guy.
No, to back up. That was it. Like, I mean, he could probably play 5'8". He could play 5'8", back up. That's what his job was. And he's got thrusted into starting that side with a very mediocre team, right? Like, it's not their best lineup. Even like Spencer Leniu missing a couple of weeks here and there, and they were just way off. Sandon Smith's way off the pace with first grade. He's not a first grade player yet. He's got some potential in him. The outside backs. Who was the four? I loved what I saw about the four. He was the standout in that whole game.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got something. He's got something, that kid.
Do you think? I'm with you. I don't want to skip off the Sandon Smith. I've seen enough of Sandon Smith now. I reckon he's a long-term 14.
I'm just about to say he can handle NRL.
Yes.
I'm just saying he's not like a reserve grader who's just pretending, right?
No.
He can. No. He's got some ability, but it's hard to run that team, man.
I think with Chad and Sandon, you'd want them as your backup half potentially. Well, Chad can't be a 14 at this point of his career. I think Sandon can.
I think Chad can still run the side. He just needs a 5'8" who can run and kick good. Like Chad can run a team. Like I haven't got no doubt about that. Get your forwards going, mate. You cannot do anything when your forwards are getting bashed like that. Let's just give them a break. Give Brisbane some credit. They absolutely monstered them, right? But you got to fucking go, hey, Lindsay, Naful White, like your boys, like, hey, let's get some front foot ascendancy here. Let's get some yardage. Back five, let's get some yardage. I'm not expecting Chad Townsend to win you a game or Sandon Smith to break open the game. But I expect him to get you into certain positions on the field with good kicks and everything, like make your tackles, don't be so bad in defence.
Do you think the Roosters have higher expectations for Sandon Smith than what me and you do?
Yes. Otherwise he would be out of there. Back to Terrell May. Losing Terrell May.
Yep.
I heard rumours that, like Robbo's a bit of a Zen master, like the Phil Jackson sort of player, sort of coach, the mentality of that.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a different cat there. Like Terrell May, he plays because he's a fucking animal. He's a Houso kid from Penrith, like I'm a Houso kid from Toronto West.
Yep.
You ask me what my why is, I don't fucking know. You ask me as a 17-year-old because I want to play. You're fucking angry.
Yeah.
You want to play. You're good at it. You're getting paid. It's
fun.
Some money
for your family.
It's fun. Trying to buy your family a house. Try and get yourself out of the fucking slums. That's your why. It ain't going to be you ask me a why now, it'd be totally different.
Yeah.
Why at 17? Why at 21, 22? He's a young wild bull just wanting to fucking kill everything.
Terrell would be probably about 24, but even then,
Doesn't matter, mate.
Yeah, your Y from 24 to 27 is going to be completely different.
2004, me still the Y is like, fuck, mate. This is just, it's fun as hell, and you're getting paid, and you get to fucking hit people for free. You get to fight, you get to do everything like that. It's like, because if you're built like that, and you're from that sort of fucking upbringing, football is your best outlet because you could be aggressive as fuck. If Terrell May was playing in our year, he'd be fighting half the week, nearly every week. Most of these guys would, but they can't. We could. So, like, if you wanted to get out there and really, like, just go after it, yeah, that's why. That's your why. Because you're a fucking angry little kid that just, that this outlet, which is great with rugby league, just gives you that outlet of just like expressing your anger and everything like that. That's his why. Ask him in 5 years what his why is. It'll probably be his kids. It'll probably be like legacy. It'll probably be different things. I play because of this, this, and this. And I heard those questions got asked, and I think they were a little bit dismissed, and they weren't the right sort of answer. And like, I don't know what answer you expected from Terrell, mate.
It's a tough one because I'm with you on it. Like, he never really felt like a Rooster for me. Like he was so Western Sydney, and I grew up 5 minutes away, 5 minutes or 10 minutes away from him. And as you get older, you sort of mesh and you change a little bit. Now, I wasn't housing commission. I was brought up with a good family, but I understand the area well enough.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the Roosters are a different club. They've got different expectations, got different ways they want to present themselves, and it just looked like from an outsider looking in that Terrell May just wasn't like. That's why that's why it's so murky. Like that's why it's been so murky, because no one wants to come out and like really say it. He just didn't buy into being a Sydney Rooster, getting all dressed up, putting a suit and tie on, being
rat's tail and
being
shit.
proper. Like he just was authentic to who he was, and that didn't suit the Roosters. And I think that's the reason why he's ended up playing at the Tigers.
I can't find the article now, but I was listening to Michael Shamus this week. He's done a sit down with him, and explained, like, asked his perspective on it. Shamus said, "This is what I've heard out of the club." And he got to respond to that. So I can't find the article out now, but it sounded.
I know the reason. Like whatever I just said then, it's around about that, and then not towing the line, and Terrell May just sticking to his sort of what he's about, and he's just like he's not going to change for anyone, and that if that might not suit the Roosters culture or what direction they're going in or whatever, so be it. The Tigers look like he's happy there.
By the way, there's pros and cons to that, right? Like you set a standard and you want your players to act a certain way. If someone necessarily doesn't fit into the outfit, then it might be short-term pain for long-term gain. Like if he's not a part, like, and doesn't want to buy into whatever it may be,
well, look at
whether you disagree or agree with it, whatever the standards may be, and the way you carry yourself. Now, some coaches give a little bit more leniency, some don't. We're going to talk about Magin a little bit.
But let's talk about Jared Warrior-Hargraves when he first first come from Manly over there. Wild young Maori boy, fucking hoary as, and just wild. You know what I mean? Like taking people's heads off. Yeah, he wasn't Roosters-esque, was he?
Yeah.
He fucking.
He's a little bit more loose around the edges.
They're like, okay, we've got something here. And that's the way I look at Terrell May. Like, there's something here. Let's persist. Let's just like, everyone has these, little flaws and everything like that. And as you get older, you start, you mature, you get better at things. You start, you start learning. That's educating, mate. That's him, getting educated. Where Hargraves grew into the fucking leader out there, the club captain, like 300 gamer, like, geez, like everything. If you just persisted with him. And that coincided with Jared winning, getting to a grand finals and everything like that and being highly respected. But when you got young guys like that from a different socioeconomic backgrounds, that's when coaching comes in.
Yeah.
That's where you got to cultivate and watch them grow. The maturation process takes a little bit. When you see talent, you got to fucking, you got to coddle some people. You got to educate. You got to have time out with them.
A little bit more work
into it, mate. That's what coaching does. I'm not saying that Robbo did not try that, but probably you can't coach Terrell May like you coached Lindsay Collins.
You couldn't coach me and you the same way, even though we think the same now.
No, you can't, mate.
Like we're on the same page now as
but not back then, mate. Like you fucking coach.
We would have been completely different.
You could not coach me like you coach fucking Jamie Feeney, or Mark O'Mealy, the same way that you coach Dennis Scott, or like Roy or Sonny, and like we're all different characters, mate. We all. we have the same goal as going out in the field and just trying to fucking kill everyone. But off the field, everyone's from different backgrounds and shit. And that's where coaching is so important, especially with the young kids and even myself doing pathways now. Like, I've got to know what the kid's history is. I need to know where he's from. I need to meet the parents. And I'm like, I don't know, if you're growing up in the eastern suburbs with a little silver spoon in your mouth, I don't think you're going to have the same drive as a kid out in Penrith. You know?
Yep. So then again, it's going to come down to coaching. And
I need to know now. What's going on? What do you want to play for? Is your dad forcing you to play? You want to play? Like, these are the questions that I'm asking these kids. I'm just like, and I don't say it directly. Like, I said, why do you play? Like, then you see dads, you see the parents at the fucking games and everything. I'm like, this kid's not playing because fucking parents are vicariously living their shit little fucking careers for the kids because the fucking dad probably played flag and didn't get past it. Right? And goes, now he wants to front load into his kid, whose kid probably don't even want to fucking play. Right? And that's happening. This is real. And I didn't even really know it was happening. I just thought everyone just wanted to play. Nah.
So then again, like, going back to good coaching, you've got to find a way to get the best out of that kid. I've got to find a way. And also, like, does he have some drive in there that can be driven differently, right?
Because it's like, you need to be able to push yourself to a limit in NRL and Origin. And I said, I'm assuming everybody wants to play NRL here. Put your hands up. Yeah, everybody. Do you know how hard it is to play NRL, right? You know, like the resilience, the mental aptitude that you need to apply yourself is every fucking day about it. Starts at your age, just 17. I was a 17-year-old kid come down from Toronto West. Do you know what I mean? I said, I had to do what you're doing. Like, it's a fucking hard slog. 17, 18, 19, 20, then you get graded. It's like, this is the hardest part of your career, is setting yourself up, creating the right habits and discipline and everything like that. And then you get the fruits of your labour when you finally make it. But you just don't get in the pathways and go, oh yeah, this is so easy. The pathway just goes straight into first grade, and then I'll play for New South Wales in Australia and win grand finals. Just because of these fucking things, instant gratification. Look at fucking how good. Oh, what's Tommy Turbo doing? Oh, he's fucking killing it. Well, that looks good. Rugby league looks good. I might try that for a fucking week. It's not like that. It's the fucking hardest game you could ever play. It's the top 3 hardest game, most physical games, mentally, spiritually, everything, mate. It'll test everything. And I'm just like, I don't sugarcoat it with these kids. It's fucking hard. I said, none of you kids might even make it. There's 40 kids there.
Low percentage will make it.
Yeah, maybe you might play 1 or 2 games. What are you talking? 200, 300 gamers, 20 origins, 20 tests? Probably not. Yeah. I don't see anyone in this room. I said, like. That's what I'm looking at. Like, we're not looking at that. I said, look, that's how hard the game is. Out of 100 kids, maybe 1 of you kids might make it. That's the whole pathways. From 17 to 20, it's 100 kids. Maybe 1, maybe 2. And I'm not talking, as I said, I'm not talking like 150 gamers and future Hall of Famers and all that. You might just play 2 games, mate. And they're like sitting there going, the way I fucking talk is like this. 17 years old. I'm not talking to 15. 17 years old, you should know what the fuck is going on.
All right, that's perfect, mate, because then that brings us on to the next part of another question from Chad Lockwood. And it goes back to standards. It's setting the tone. It's good coaching, all that stuff that you mentioned at a young age. Madge is doing this. It's sort of trying to, I guess, set some standards similar to, like we're talking about Robbo in one way. I feel like Madge is doing it in a different way up at the Brisbane Broncos. It's all about standards, buying into the culture. This one comes from Chad Lockwood. Hey, boys, love the show. Did you guys notice the Broncos in the shed singing their team song or dressed in their polos? Not one player had their shirt off. Is that a Madge enforced thing or just coincidence? Mase, I don't think it's coincidence because there was a no shirts off policy for training for them in the preseason. So Madge has come in looking at small details, looking at social media and phones and the way they are perceived. And I think Chad Lockwood's asking the question. I don't think this is a coincidence. I think this is Madge setting standards, trying to change the culture there. And I just want to know your thoughts on that.
That's spot on, trying to change the culture, right? Because I'm pretty sure at South, like I've seen Sam Burgess with his shirt off. You know what I mean? Back in the day, like GI, I saw that. And I'm like, and I think this is the Madge evolving as a coach, learning from his mistakes, learning what sort of players that he does have. Totally different group from South, totally different group from the West Tigers. Yep. Now the New South Wales, totally different group. Now he's got these young kids, brash, good looking, fucking they're about it, got some mad swag.
They've got like 5 in the top 10 roasties, top 100 every year.
Yeah, but they've got like, in these setting standards, no shirts off. You know, no shirts off for training. It's a big deal to Reece Walsh. Right? He loves his shirt off.
Could
you know,
be.
like Carrigan loves his shirt off. They're all fucking ripped up and you're in your prime and everything like, yeah, of course, yeah.
Jesse Arthurs.
Jesse Arthurs looking ripped
Good
as
ribs.
hell. You know,
Herbie
like-
was there.
Yeah.
Jordan Ricky.
Pound for pound, one of the best looking teams.
The best, looking
Ricky.
team in the comp
it's a
by
good
far.
looking team. It's a good looking team.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Fuck yous.
Yeah.
Leave your shirts
Do you reckon
on.
there's a
But
bit
for the song, like they're
reckon
all
that-
sweaty and everything like that. Like
So shower up, come back in, let's do the
no,
song.
there's no shower up. They'd be like straight in, put your shirt on, and then sing the song.
Do you think he identified a bit of vanity within the team? Like
Yes.
maybe this team's a
Couple
bit
of blokes plucking their fucking eyebrows and painting their fingernails and all that sort of shit. I don't think he likes that.
that's the nature of like the younger guys coming through. So I can understand it. And I look again, going back to it, we're being critical, not critical, but if you're breaking down what Robbo's doing, this is another form of that. This is at the Broncos.
Yeah.
Now I tell you when it works, or when you're winning games, and you're buying in, and it feels like everyone's buying in. Now I think the difference between what we're talking about with Robbo, he's had those players. Senior players that have helped him set the standards at the Roosters.
About 8 or 9 every
I
time.
just don't. With all the losses that they've had, I don't think they have the same level of leadership or the same sort of buy-in.
Who's the alpha at Roosters now?
It'd still be Teddy and Rads is the alpha.
Yeah, but he's going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah. So Rads is there, but you think about it, like Jared. So back was Boydie. Boydie had Jake Friend. Jake Friend had Jared Warrior-Hargraves. Jared Warrior-Hargraves had a young Victor Radley. I remember I spoke to Boydie about it about 4 or 5 years ago when I first got back, and they had a really good conversation with Rads about, all right, he's a little bit loose around the edges, Bondi boy, loves a schooner, loves a party, work hard, play hard mentality. And I think Boydie got
He's
into
cut
him
from
early.
the old cloth, that's
yeah,
why.
yeah, he's old school. And they had a chat to him about like, all right, still have your fun. You've got Boydie identified, and I think Robbo identified that he's got heavy influence amongst the playing group. So he's the guy to pass it on down.
Natural leader.
Now, with all the, I guess, players moving on, like, mate, Lindsay's there to help him out. But outside of that, there's not a shitload of, and for me, like, you sort of need 2 or 3 guys. Like you always name the players that you had. Like you had yourself, Sonny, Ogre, Bobcat,
Steve Price,
a number
Ogre,
of guys that
Tony
can set the
Grimaldi,
tone. When you have the max exodus like they do at the moment, the Roosters, and then now moving on to the Broncos,
it's hard.
The Broncos they're urgent. Like they need it, they want it. So Payne wants to set those standards.
You got 2 starters.
Paddy wants to set.
You got 2 starters in the Australian team, right?
Yeah.
Starters, not on the bench or anything like that. You've already got a couple of like starters out wide. Like you got a really good balance of a team. Like Robbo's. This is going to be his. We said it. We fucking said it last year. This will be his biggest test as a coach. If he fails and goes to the bottom 4, which potentially could happen, like. What happens then? I know what the Roosters are like. They're fucking ruthless. They'll probably give him 1 more year, and then they're like, you've lost the playing group, and then you're done.
Who they got? Reece Robson's coming next year. They need to make some moves.
Reece Robson's going to be great. You make your 60 tackles, you ain't going to change the game.
Sam Walker
fit back.
It'll be a wait and see to see what they look like with Sam Walker by around 10,
How many
11,
weeks
12.
did Spencer get?
He's back after the Penrith game. So he's missing the Penrith game and then he'll be back.
Oh, that sucks because they miss his sort of, yeah.
It's going to be huge not having him. No Rads and no Spencer through against this Penrith
Toops and,
team.
the Fijian centre, he looks way off.
Newick and Nicolasi,
way off, mate.
He's a work in progress.
Yeah, and
he was okay.
He hasn't been found out defensively. They haven't been going at him much, but I think the more video that's on him, the more data that's out there.
Sonia,
the big Sonia's out there, and I think he's going to get really exposed because. And I think I love the other kid, man. I think he deserves raps. He was their best kid. He reminded me of a young Tim Laffey.
Robert Toya, he's nice.
And I'm like 20 years old. When Laffey hit the scene with the Dogs, he was fucking carving. He was on the other side.
Do you know what the biggest hole is? I reckon it's Joey Manu. Yeah. I reckon Joey Manu's influence as a senior player, I reckon that's really rocked the Roosters. Because you think about Mark Newick as well, man. Like Robert Toya is a guy that they've expected big things from the last couple of years, but he's had injuries. I think the Suoliti thing, they had enough time to prepare for it because there's so much chat around it for a while, and were expectations that he could go back to Union at some point. I think Joey Manu leaving because he's that senior guy to help out Teddy in the back line and help out Rads as a senior member. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do everything that they can to get Joey Manu back as quickly as possible. I wouldn't
be fucking around with Siwa Wong as a starter either. I think Nat Butcher deserves a start on that right.
He was injured, mate. He was a late withdrawal. Yeah, he got injured.
Siwa Wong's like, I'm not sure whether he's undersized or if he's in the wrong position because he come through as a centre in Union. Now he's put on a little bit of size, and this is the product of being a real dominant schoolboy. And then you get to the big boys, and it's fucking equals out very quickly.
Takes a little bit longer to develop.
Takes a little bit, but I'm fully blaming the halves. Has just got to do something, mate. Connor Watson's not a natural 9. He's going to do a job. He's going to be great, like just say off the bench or something like that. But like they're just got to make do, like for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Connor Watson's similar to Cookie. Cookie didn't look great at the Rabbitohs when there was no front. Connor Watson's a front foot player. I reckon Connor Watson's a really good 9, but he's not going to look as good behind this forward pack currently.
Lindsay Collins.
Huge game for Lindsay coming up.
I'm not sure who they're going to put at lock. They're the ones. They need to really work on their the defensive principles from the Roosters. They've had that set in their culture for 10 plus years. Can't just go out the window. So they're just effort plays.
Yeah.
Effort plays, and dominating the ruck. I know, I get it. Brisbane's a pretty good side, but you still got some fucking rough riders in your side, mate. You still got Lindsay Collins. You still got Crichton.
They look good for the first 20 before Rhodes went off. So we'll see what happens. It's watch and see. We'll see how they look against Penrith. Let's move on to Dally M voting, mate. And I got this one from the vegan memes guru. How did the Cowboys winger get a Daily M point? Laugh out loud. The whole team got owned.
Who?
So the Seagulls versus Cowboys, I've got them here. The Daily M votes were 6 points to Tom Trbojevic. So 2 judges gave Tommy 3 each. Daily Cherry Evans got 2 from one voter. Ruben Garrick got 2 from another voter. I love Rubes. I love Ches. How Homole didn't get 2 points from one of them is a surprise. So Homole got a point and Braden Burns got a point for the Cowboys, right? So Braden Burns had 202 metres from 14 carries, but with 15 minutes to go, he'd only had 70 metres from 12 carries. They made 2 line breaks, which accounted for 130 metres off 2 runs. And that was his only line break and that was his only try. So for me, looking at that, is that someone just looking at stats after the game and then
it is. That's not watching the game. That's pathetic. They should put their fucking name to this so we can critique them.
Yeah. Because that's not
I like Braden Burns. He was at the Bulldogs. Great human. But
this isn't a knock on Braden Burns.
He was nowhere near a top
This isn't his fault.
Top 10 player on the field.
No one in the Cowboys deserved a point for that.
Not a point. Not 1 point, let alone a winger.
Yeah.
Let alone a winger.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing Brian Toto numbers.
Yeah.
Fuck that. He wasn't doing any of that. They were getting bashed all game.
Yeah. So,
fuck, mate. Because I would have given it a did and just even try and take Olakau'atu on.
Yeah, fair effort. Yeah.
Olakau'atu should have got the 2 points.
Definitely.
Cherry 3. I mean, for 1.
Turbo 3-3, I can understand. Olakau'atu should have got 2-2 from me.
I thought Paseka. Yeah. I thought he was outstanding.
Ches was in.
Or Ches, yeah. But I mean, like, we're Braden Burns.
But you can argue any
just
Manly
get Braden Burns out of there.
You can argue the Manly plays. Just remove the
Just no one from the Cowboys, when you get put 50 on you, you'd have to be like a Ruben Cotter who made like 50-something tackles, 25 hit-ups for 200-something metres and no misses.
Yeah.
And you get 1. You get 1 point if you're Ruben because the dominance from Manly. And these guys should put their fucking names to this shit. Pathetic.
All right.
For 50 years now, TJM has stood for Taylor, Jones and Mollenhauer. But beyond those initials, TJM means so much more. TJM means quality. TJM means innovation. TJM means pushing the boundaries and striding into the unknown with confidence. TJM means taking the lead.
Mase, TJM's Spring into Easter sale kicks off from March 13th until April 4th. So that's today. Headlined by 20% off XGS suspension, snorkels, select canopies. Quote online and it takes less than 5 minutes. Visit tjm.com.au for unparalleled frontal protection for your 4x4. The biggest news, let's get to it. Dylan Brown, it's official. He is signed to the Knights on a 10-year deal. So, got a couple of different opinions on this. You got fans of the Knights, you got fans of Parramatta, and you just got fans of the game questioning the decision for the Newcastle Knights. Hey, boys, this one comes from Jeno. Interested in your thoughts on the Dylan Brown deal. It's obviously a huge risk from Newcastle, but would you agree that the riskiest part of it is the fact that they have signed someone to a 10-year deal that isn't already at the club? The difference between DC and Tomalolo and even Tino is Manly and the Cows knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. I feel like Newcastle have taken a huge risk on someone that they don't know suits their culture and their club. It's a good point.
It's a very good point.
I haven't heard that from anyone else.
Because of a simple reason, like they've known, you know, a Payne Haas, a Tino for a couple of years. They know what their character's like. They know what their training ability's like. They know what their durability's like, their body, everything like that, attitude.
Not to say that Dylan Brown isn't that guy,
no, but you just
there
don't
is unknown.
Know, you know, Parramatta could be happy to leave because like they mightn't like his attitude. I'm just saying all these little things, all these little variables that we don't know.
Well, you can factor in that Parra definitely wanted to keep him.
Of course they do, but I'm just saying maybe there's some little things that they, you know, Newcastle don't know, and then he goes up there and whatever.
For sure.
That's it. But I doubt
that's
it.
A good question.
I doubt it because he's a man of high character, and I think he's a fucking great player and a great young person. 10 fucking years, which is massive, going up there. We always said it. I don't think they need a 6. They don't need a 6.
I think you've got to. I've said this to you before. You've got to. You don't think he's a 7. You've got.
I think he can play 7.
You've got to get. He's going to be the 7.
Okay. Well, fuck it. And I mean, I just think it takes his whole like skill set away because he's a runner and he needs to get on edges. He's not just going to like dummy and make holes through like A and B and all that kind of stuff. Like he needs to get the ball a little bit wider, off block shapes and out the back and all that last sort of pass, run, dummy, all those kind of things like offload, support play. It's hard to do that as a 7.
How do you think he's able to keep his core best part of it? And I had a chat to Foz about it, who will have his opinion on. By the time you've watched this, you've heard me and Foz talk about it. How does he maintain that while also being able to add a little percentage each year? Like he's not going to be a game managing half straight away, but the way Newcastle have paid him and what they're giving him, he's going there to be the 7, mate. So how do they figure it? How do they figure out? And how slowly do you think they implement little traits?
What about this little one here?
Yeah.
Just say Cogger lives up to potential.
If he has a good season.
Yeah, if he has a gun season, right?
Yep.
And then you're like, okay, well maybe we can stick with Cogger and we can put Brown at 6.
Brown at 6. Fletcher Sharp back to the centres or wing.
Fletcher Sharp can play wing for a couple of years and just that's just pure pace in a footballer on there. I'd probably rather him than Schiller at the moment. You just say next year. Just say next year when if Cogger's killing it and they've got a gun centre.
All right, so
I'd have Sharp and
so your decision would be between Schiller and Cogger then, because I feel like the Newcastle Knights are buying Dill to be the 7 with Fletcher Sharp at 6 and then keep Schiller on the wing. But if you're saying Cogger has a huge season, it pushes Dill back to the 6, which then pushes Fletcher Sharp's got to be a part of the team.
Yeah, he's a gun. He's part of the team.
So therefore Schiller's the one that misses out. Yeah, interesting.
And you don't know how many years Gags has got left. Gags could have like maybe 1 or 2, and you could put Sharp in centre.
I think Gags re-upped for a season, maybe 2 max last year.
See, like
remember the Roosters were looking at him?
Depends on his body, like he's been around for a minute. Gags been a great player, but depends how long he wants to play. And Sharp could easily slot into the centres, and he could play he could do his job there for a couple of years. Ponga, I'm not sure Ponga can play for. He's got 5 or 6 years peak, I reckon.
Well, he has I think his contract finishes up 27-28.
Then you renegotiate. But
so it's a huge wait and see for Ponga.
It is, But
I think he's very intrigued.
I'm just thinking. I'm not thinking in my head. I'm like, Dylan Brown's going to play 7 because I'm like, you don't know what can happen with Cogger because Cogger's got ability, and if he and that like when your fucking position's on the line, like, you're going to give everything. You know what I mean? As I said, like when you're under the pump like that and they go, all right, we just bought Dylan Brown. What are you boys going to do about it?
Adam O'Brien was non-committal to talk about the decision or the signing in his presser, and I reckon a huge part of it is the 10-day cooling down period as well. That's a huge part. I reckon that's what he's waiting for. But also, like people, I guess people were critical of him just like playing a straight bat. It's the perfect thing to do. You also as a player of Newcastle Knights now, you don't want you don't want your coach glazing about a player that's not there yet. Like, save that for later on. Yes. One, you got to make sure it's official first before you even start talking about it. And two, like, he's not part of our roster. He's not going to help us against the Dolphins. So I actually like what Adam O'Brien
It'd be
did.
just like, once the cooling off period, it'd be great to have him next year.
Yep.
We've got a season to fucking play.
That's it.
And
this is a good take.
That's all Adam O'Brien needs to say. And I think he's professional like that. But, like, what happens if, like, so the 10-day cooling off period and Parra comes back and goes, never going to happen?
No.
Yeah. Or just say they come back with 14 mil.
No.
I don't know.
They said that they
said they're not?
They dug their heels in about what their price was for him. I believe it was like 3 or 4 years less and a couple of 100,000 less. So they wanted to keep deal, but it was like a 6 to 7 year deal at maybe $1 million. Like, and that was their price.
Were the Roosters keen?
Apparently, it was only Newcastle and the EELS, which that's all it takes. You only need two at the bargaining table for you.
No. And when it says 10 years, like, you can set yourself up for generational money there. Yeah.
If he does the right,
right decisions. He's on what, 1.1
he's pretty switched
on, 1.2. He's pretty smart.
He's more switched on than people give him credit for. Here's a good take on it as well. This one comes from Pity. Hey lads, loving the pod and a diehard Knight supporter here. Wanted your opinion on the Dylan Brown signing. I feel like the people aren't looking at the bigger picture with new franchises coming into the NRL and salary cap inflation. I think we will see a lot more of these long-term deals moving forward. New teams will come in hard, so it makes sense to have your best players locked up long-term if you can get them. Also, I want to know if OG is still barred from Toronto pub. I still remember him and Les, the biggest bloke I've ever seen, running amok there when I was a young fella coming through. Cheers, boys.
That was like that was Fight Central back in the day in old Toronto pub.
It must have been a young Triple AG.
Yeah, mate, just throwing them. me and the big bro.
That's a good point.
Quick question for you, Hoz and Lukey. Would Dylan Brown, like 10-year deal, massive, right? I know Taumalolo's got it, and Tino, mainstays, great players, top 3 in their positions, everything like that, Origin players, Australia players. Would Dylan Brown now, could he play for Queensland or could he play for New South Wales?
He wouldn't make New South Wales, so he wouldn't make New South Wales now.
Making Queensland. Munster's there.
He did play for New Zealand and dominated Australia 30 to 0.
I know, but it's different. It's a different level.
Well, that's combining the two teams.
I'm just saying. Origin, mate.
I'm just going back and forth with you here. So, like, there is people are judging him on the form of the way that Parramatta look currently against the Melbourne Storm, which is obvious. And,
yeah, I know.
And it wasn't a great
That's terrible. Don't fucking go off that.
And last year they were going through a whole heap of change. But if you think about 2023, 2022, 2021, like, he's had some really good seasons.
He'd be in the picture.
He'd be in the picture, which is good enough for me. Yeah.
He'd be like, okay, Luai, just say he's from New South Wales. It's like, okay, Luai better be on his toes because Dylan Brown's there. You know, that's the sort of play he is. He's not first picked. You know, like, just say with, you know, Dearden, Munster, him, and you got Luai, and then you probably got him. You know, and you know, so he's in your top 3 half, like 6. So I'm like,
well, when we did our rankings last year, we had him.
I fucking love him, mate.
Do we have him 3 behind?
Yeah,
because at that time Jerome was a 6. Now Jerome's changed to a 7. But we had Munster, Jerome, and then him.
But I always put things in like that sort of perspective. And like, okay, could he play Origin? I'm like, yeah, he could, pending on injury. But he's not your first pick because of these guys, some great players in front of him, right? But you know, 10-year deal. He's 24 years old, 25.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll add some salary cap context to this.
Yep.
2016, so 10 years ago, salary cap was 6.8 million.
Was it?
The top 25. So from Newcastle's perspective, I think they've got him on a steal for the back end.
Oh, but depends what clauses he's got in.
No clauses this time.
Okay.
No Sanders.
Hey,
you've been listening to that.
So 10-year deal. Oh, is it risky?
Let's go back to the question. New clubs coming in, new franchises. If you are a second New Zealand team, what would you be willing to pay on the market Dylan Brown to be the face of your franchise? That's a factor.
More than that.
If you're the Perth team and you sign Brad Arthur,
the New Guinea team.
He won't go to New Guinea.
Hey, who knows?
Yeah, well, if they throw him crazy money, if you're the Perth team and they acquire Brad Arthur, who's got a close relationship, what's Brad going to throw at him? So, like, it might look crazy now, like there's only 2 people bidding for him, but New franchises, you have no idea what they would be thinking.
Oh, they're going to go at it.
Yeah, so that's actually not a bad take on it as well.
Yeah, and I'm just like 10 years. I'm just apprehensive on the 10-year deal, but he should be thanking Adam Reynolds, fucking Ben Hunt, and DCE.
Veteran halves that are playing well.
That are still killing it. Yeah. Hey, 5 years ago, this would not be happening. A 10-year deal to a 25-year-old. 23 and less, you know what I mean? Like you've had the 3 or 4 years, gun years like a Taumalolo. You can have that and you can sign a 10-year deal and get to 34, you're still playing good, but like 25, 26, 10-year deal, that's only because of like these fucking players like Adam Reynolds and everything like that who still continually play great. I mean, DCE is the number one.
Yeah.
DCE is the guy. Okay, well, he's still playing. I honestly think DCE can get to 40. That's how fucking good he's playing and how he's playing chess, not checkers. It's a fucking joke to him out there. His jersey's not dirty. He's just fine. He doesn't look like he's played a game, but he's just controlling the team how he wants, does all these tackles, does everything right. But I was thinking about, sorry, I'll go off, the New Guinea team, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, so I had lunch with the great Warren Ryan.
Yep.
Andrew, this was fucking hilarious. So Joey rings up and goes, Wok. So Warren Ryan, if you don't know, bit of context, one of the greatest coaches, revolutionised the game at Bulldogs, won multiple premierships, was a Newcastle coach back in about 99, 2000. Joey's had a great relationship with him, and I just know him, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking
legend. Was Warren Ryan the coach of the 97 team?
No, Malcolm Riley, but I think 99 or something like that.
And then Hayes was 2001.
Yeah. So he had a real influence over Joey.
Yep.
He lives in Maroubra Junction, so I went down to Maroubra Bay, Maroubra Junction Hotel, and I thought it was just going to be myself, Joey, and Wok, and then about like 8 of the fucking hardest dudes from the 80s. People wouldn't even know them, like Graham Wynn and all these blokes, nearly fucking Hall of Famers, great guys in the 80s. The story, they're just, that era is just great storytellers. Mate, I'm glad no one was in the pub, mate, because there's some of the stories. Paul Langmack was in there. Mate, it was hilarious. But Wok was always talking about the game now. They've always got their opinion on the game, Graham Wynn and everything like that. And then we talked about New Guinea.
Yep.
They're like, what the fuck? And they'll just go, because their perception of New Guinea is like, they're still cannibals and everyone's getting eaten. I said, boys, they're pretty safe over there. You stay in your own compound. They'll be looked at as gods. And we're like, who would be going over there? I said, you know who my number one fucking contender is to go over there? Tedesco. In 2 years, right? He might be at the end, right? And then they go, okay, you either play Super League or you can stay at the Roosters for unders. And then New Guinea goes, here's 1.4 mil a year tax break, but you got to be over there and captain our inaugural side. I think Teddy's going to be on their radar. I think
that's a huge call.
I'm telling you, it's the perfect age. 2 years. Teddy's only 32.
Have a look for Teddy.
Yeah, so he'll be 34. He'll be thinking, do I hang him up or do I go to Super League? Do I stay on unders for the Roosters or do I fucking go over there and I can just fucking 32. So he'll be 34. He still have a lot of footy in him. He's still Tedesco, captain the side.
Yeah.
So people who are around about the 30-year age, 30, just finished their rep sort of career and then they've still got it, don't want to go to Super League.
Yeah.
You want to stay here and still play NRL. Yeah. They're going to be they're going to get those guys. Big names. There'll be some fucking really big names. And the tax. So when you earn it, if you want to earn $1 million, you're probably going to be earning 800,000. The tax, because it's not like Australia. That's the whole thing. So I'm thinking these gun plays. So Teddy, I'm saying it's going to be Teddy.
How do you feel about
I love it because that's how they're going to get the players, mate. If you're going to go over there and you're just not going to, you're on $1 million, it's still the tax breaks here. You're just getting hammered, right? You're earning half your money here. You go over there.
The reports are recently just on that with PNG that apparently Selwyn Cobbo's going to extend for another year and then he's going to be their biggest target.
That's what I'm saying, and that's going to be a lot of money. A lot of money. And
can Selwyn become their hammer, like the hammer?
Yes. And as if they won't be going for a hammer. Like Xavier Coates.
Yep.
All these guys are going to get a shitload of money. Nathan Cleary,
Why not?
Did you see a journo legitimately wrote an article because of Mary Fowler?
What an idiot. Heritage? Whoever that guy is an idiot.
That's clickbait
That is clickbait at its best. Like, come on, man. Like, just... It's footy. It's footy season now. Talk footy.
Let's get to the para side of it. And this question's for you, Lukey, and it comes from Stelz. Question, boys, and I really want to know Lukey's input into Dylan Brown. I actually think it could turn out better for the team.
Lukey has to stop crying for 3 days.
Even though he is a top number 6. Our forward pack needs to be improved, and this gives us plenty of time and around the 900K to do that. I know you love Dill. Can you see any pros at all as a para fan into
100%.
this and being able to fill different spots? Because there are some needs for Jason Rolls in that Parramatta.
And I also love I'm sure you've got it in the notes as well, the options that are sort of being floated around. Braith on 360 was pretty quickly to throw Jonah Pezzett's name in the mix.
Whoa.
He's got a deal contingent to Hughes at the Storm.
Pez would be
you
good.
got blokes like Wishart as well, I think would be a good shout.
So the contenders you wouldn't have seen at Mase. So the people, and this is just through purely a couple of the journos throwing a few names out there. And then they asked Braith, and Braith was asked about the situation with Pezzett, which revolves around the future of Jerome Hughes, which is understandable. Jonah Pezzett.
Jerome Hughes, because he's old, or?
Yeah, well, with Jonah, I believe the clause is going to be if Jerome stays on, then Jonah's got the ability to look elsewhere. But if he doesn't, then Jonah's been given assurances that he will probably get
Jerome
first crack.
could be in New Guinea as well.
Listen in New Guinea for you.
I'm just telling you, mate. The fucking money's going to be talking, mate.
Yeah.
So for Para, the options in the chat has been the obvious one's Lachlan Galvin. So let's get to that.
Yeah,
right?
go,
So
let's go.
the Eels have been urged to poach Tigers star Lachlan Galvin. Now Tigers 5'8" Lachlan Galvin is reportedly set to go to the market with his management informing rival clubs to get their checkbooks ready for November 1. Galvin is contracted for 2025 on a deal worth $250. It jumps to $350 next year in his final year, but he is free to negotiate from November 1. The Tigers have been open and not open. They've been, I guess, trying to sign Galvin now to a long-term deal. They're putting that on hold. Isaac Moses is going to take Galvin to the open market.
What's he think he's worth? What do you think that Galvin's worth?
Galvin is going to get north of 900.
Fuck off.
He is, mate.
I would not pay him more than 500.
For how long? What's
I
that?
mean, just like right now, he hasn't done anything in the game apart from show a couple of little bits of brilliance. Like, he's a kid, mate. You know, he don't deserve like anything more than 750. I know that like he should be up and up and up or whatever he earns. He's got potential to earn that, but fucking not now.
Someone's going to pay him. All right, this one comes from Sammy.
Do you look at him like he's going to transcend the game and be like a fucking absolute superstar, a New South Wales player, Australian player? Do you think he has that potential?
Potential, yes. I don't think it's a guarantee.
Yeah, I'm fucking thinking it's way off. I think he's a very good NRL player. I don't look at him and go, that's the fucking next man up.
I don't think Parramatta's in much of a different position if Galvin comes in, given from salary cap perspective, if you're going to throw the house at him.
Yeah.
Oh, mate,
it's a tricky one.
It is hard because I think he's got talent, but I need to see a couple. I need to see this year dominate.
Do you not see any elite traits on him though? Because that's what you got. That's
not
what
much.
You got to take now.
Not like when I saw like Luai and Cleary and all these sort of gun Munsters and all that. You know, like making some fucking proper moves when they were real young. I think Galvin, he's got potential to be like if he puts on a bit of size, a little bit more pace. You know, like he has got potential, but I just don't see that real X factor. He's just a footballer. He reminds me of Brett Finch.
Even though you don't see it.
He reminds me of Brett Finch, the way that Finchy plays. He's very long and he's like the way that he runs. And
he does move a little bit.
He moves like Finchy, mate. Yeah. And like Finchy was like, Finchy's played Origin.
But smaller. Not as tall as Finchy.
No, I think he's just as tall as Finch.
No.
You don't reckon?
Lachlan Galvin's taller than me. Do you see him at the golf day?
Oh, I thought you said Finchy's taller than him.
No.
No, okay.
No, I reckon Finch is 6'1", and I reckon he would have been 6'3".
Yeah, he's pretty tall, but like just the same movements they have. They're not super,
they do.
They're not super fast.
Yeah.
They got that overhand, like sort of like not mad spirals, but they pass the ball mainly end over end.
Really good fitness levels.
Fitness levels, and they just keep testing you. Yep. It just reminds me of a young Finchy at Canberra and at the Roosters. Like he does really, the way that he runs and his little fucking elbows tucking back.
Well, Finchy went on to play for New South Wales.
Yeah, he did. He's a good player, but like shitloads of injuries. You know, and then Finchy got up. He was a fucking seventh man called up.
Yeah, true.
But I think he has potential. But I'm not fucking throwing the book at him yet.
But you understand the landscape that we're in right now.
Yeah, I know.
You know someone someone's going to pay on potential, and
I think he gets 700.
And you mentioned the aging halves. That's only putting more like the value of all these younger kids up because they're only signing 1 or 2 year deals.
I'm looking at the quality
for
of
halves.
like outside of. I reckon it's a dramatic drop off. Once you start going outside the top 10 for halves, I reckon there's an abundance of fullbacks coming through. So for sure, the market's going to set him north of 800, 900.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, I'm just.
You wouldn't do it.
Well, I mean, I would pay him if I could get him. If I could get him, if I was Parramatta, because they need a half, right? I'd be like, Moses would complement him really well.
Yeah, and the Moses connection makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
as well.
because I think Luai and Galvin, I don't think it's really going to work as good as a Moses and Galvin.
To throw another one at you, would you risk it on Bevan French?
I'd have a crack at Bevan French coming back.
I think that's totally up to Bevan.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think he wants to come back.
I think he's content over
I think he's content because they did look after him, mate. It's a personal thing with him, and he seems like a really respectful, loyal kid. And they looked after him when there was a bit of a tragedy in his life, and he will fucking be forever grateful for that club, and I respect that. And I think
to get another opportunity to come back would be appealing though too.
I think there'd be people trying to get him back. I just don't think he wants to come back.
I tell you, who deserves a crack as well. Jay Field, man. Jay Field, him and Bevan, like Bevan gets a lot of the credit and Bevan's been man of the match in a lot of those games. Man, Jay Field's ready to come back and have another crack too.
So if all these young Keanu Kennys and all these Weeks and all that can come back, undersized fullbacks, he was in an era when he first come in when fullbacks were fucking your turbos and
everyone's looking for the turbo.
Everyone was looking for the Trells and the Teddies and all these sort of blokes. It's like the game's changed. Look at Campbell. You can play fullback easy. Like I said, there's no doubt that I think Bevan French can come over here in a really good system and fucking dominate. But that's going to be up to him. He's probably going to have to take fucking unders as well because it's like everyone's like, oh, he wasn't that good when he first came. He's fucking 10 kilos lighter, playing on the wing. Well, what do you expect? He's a lot stronger. He's a lot faster. He's just got natural ability. I wouldn't be surprised. I would love to see him come back just to go, fuck you.
Would that excite you? Mitch Moses 7, Bevan French 6, Isaiah Yongi fullback?
I don't want French is 5'8". Sorry, fullback.
No, he's a proper 5'8" now.
Is he 5'8"?
He's been 5'8" for a couple of years. The Super League fans are going to blow up on this one.
I haven't been watching Wigan.
I definitely would because I think it allows us to invest more in the middles as well because I think that's what we need.
Yeah, so I reckon just say if you were able to bring Bevan French back and give him a 2-year deal at around the 500 to 600K mark is good money for him. He plays 6. It gives you the opportunity to plan for life after as well. And potentially, because they lost everyone keeps talking about it now. They lose Ethan Sanders to Canberra Raiders and Blaze Talangi to Penrith. Now, I don't think...
think Sanders is a loss.
Yeah, so I think the only player that they lost because of Brown and Moses was Sanders. I think Talangi was going regardless. I don't because Talangi could have stayed and played fullback. Parramatta would have found a spot for Blake Talangi. Yeah. I think he wanted to go to a better system and more certainty.
He just probably thought, I'm going to win a premiership here.
But I think they lost Ethan Sanders because of Mitch Moses and Dill Brown. So that's probably one that if he goes on and produces down there at Canberra, now he's sitting behind Ethan Strange and Jamal Fogarty at the moment.
I wonder if, before the pumping of Melbourne, do you reckon Dill told the team?
No, he didn't. So he told the team after the. But I think he'd made his mind up, which sort of.
Yeah, I know, but it just look bad, like you get beat by 50 now, I'm out.
I think it would have been.
You know what I mean? Like just as a player, like fucking hell, we got beat by 50.
I said this on Monday though, mate. So I said, whatever the decision is,
when is the time to do it?
You've got to make it. You've got to make it because it can't keep dragging on, and you can't have performances like that and then it drag on. Especially leading. This is a crucial game coming up against the Tigers. Both teams need to win this game.
Win, mate.
The pressure valve will be on for whoever loses this game. So for Dill to make this decision, get it out of the way before this game, I think it's
the only reason why Dill will cop a lot of flack from Para supporters and everything like that. The only way to negate that is fucking win and dominate. And it's all on him, and it's going to be hard because Paris suck.
And you're looking up, you look at Jerome Luai and Lachlan Galvin in front of you. What a game!
And you're got to, and we really Parramatta fans want to see him go. You need the ball 20 times, 25. I want to see you run. I want to see you put your body in front. I want to see you protecting yourself or anything like that. Front load, get into it, and then you'll get the respect from all your Parramatta fans because Para fans are like Dogs fans, mate. Crazy. And that's all I expect. And I think he's got that in him. He's like, one last hurrah, let's just dig in. And it's just Tigers. It's not Melbourne.
Dill loves Parra too. Like, if it wasn't this crazy,
always a good game.
Deal, like he said at the press yesterday.
Where's it played at? Oh, we'll break him down.
It's at Combank.
It's going to be a doozy. I reckon Parra fans will be cheering harder for Lachlan Galvin than they will for Dylan Brown, because they Parra fans want Lachlan Galvin. All right, let's cross to Kieran Foran. This clip is brought to you by Athlete. I had a chat to Fozzie about the Dylan Brown situation, plus his spine at the Gold Coast Titans as well.
And his bicep.
And his bi.
All right, this weekly catch-up with two of the very best in the game is proudly brought to you by Athlete. They are the best in the business for joint and muscle pain relief, and they are built tough for you, your family, and the world's best athletes, just like me man Fozzie here and Cam Munster, who we had on last week. Luke will share the link in the bio, plus for your chance to win a performance and recovery pack valued at $500. Get your questions in to the comment section. Next week will be for our man Money Munster. This week we've got a beauty from Daniel Robertson on YouTube for Foz. So without further ado, Fozzie, how's my mate been?
Going all right, thank you, mate.
Firstly, thanks for jumping on levels for us for the year. Really looking forward to this. I said to Money last week, it's awesome to have a couple of me really good mates. Money's right in the meat and potatoes. You're getting to the back end, and we talked about it last week about you being starting to look on the other side of footy. So I really appreciate you having you on this year, brother.
My pleasure, Hod. Thanks for having me.
Mate, let's get into some breaking news that happened yesterday. So this show will be dropping on Thursday, but everything in the last 24 hours has been about Dill Brown. It signs a huge deal, 10-year deal, mate, $13 million. To head up to the Hunter, head up to Newcastle to pair up with KP. From your time playing with Dill in the Kiwis, give us sort of your perspective on what you've seen in camp in a small sample size. And I guess the biggest question is, Newcastle are paying him huge money. A lot of people probably think it's going to be to play 7. So I want to get your perspective on, over the years, what it's like being for you, moving from 6 to 7 when you've had to, and what, whether you've had to change your mindset and how you think Dill will go in the 7 jersey Foz.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, isn't it, Hodge? But I like it. From my time of obviously playing alongside Dill in the Kiwi jersey and having a bit to do with him, he's an extremely talented player. I think he's shown that in over the course of his career so far. He's played 120 NRL games, 8 to 10 tests for New Zealand. He's played in a number of finals games already, so he's a guy that can stand up on the big stage, and I just like what he's got to his game in terms of he's super explosive. He's a threat every time he runs the footy. He's one of the better defending halves in our game, in my opinion. He doesn't miss many tackles. If you have a look at his record defensively, he comes up with quite a few try saves. He's really good against the bigger men because he's super strong. So he ticks all those boxes. I guess the next evolvement of his career now, and it's obviously why he's taken the big money deal and the challenge to go to Newcastle, is he probably wants to step into that 7 role. Maybe he feels like it's time. Maybe he feels, he's played that supporting role to Moses over the past 4 or 5 years, and he's looking at it and maybe thinking, well, hey, I want to be that main guy in the 7 jersey and get a team around the part. With that comes some dangers. I think you for a guy like Dill, you wouldn't want to change his game and go away from his strengths. And I think that's where it's really important from Newcastle's point of view that they get the makeup of the spine right. I think it would be a mistake to all of a sudden send him to Newcastle, throw the 7 on his back and expect him to game manage and get a team around the field. That might take a few years for him to really grow into that role. But in terms of going to Newcastle and adding a whole new threat to their game and giving Ponga the sort of ball that he needs, I mean, he can do that he can do that in spades, in my opinion. He does it week in, week out. He digs deep into the line. He creates space for his outside runners. So I think for him, mate, it's about staying authentic to who he is and the strengths of his game. And he'll work on those other areas that he wants to grow, those, if you call it, weaker areas of his game, if you call, game managing and things like that, that'll come with time. He doesn't need to rush that part. He just needs to stick to what he does well.
When you started off in the 6 jersey, you've played some 7 at the back end of your career, Foz. You always had 7 tendencies, like playing with you, you're always very detailed. You like to, when you think about 7s and being game managers and getting the team around the paddock, you always had those traits in you anyway. Is there anything specifically that you changed? Like you're talking about Dill not changing from what he does best, but were there any tweaks that you had to put on your game and go, all right, I've got a little bit more extra responsibility in this part of my game?
Yeah, there is a difference between 6 and 7, and I'll say it on here, that when you wear the 7 jersey, the control stops with you. There is no one else that the responsibility falls on. So when you put the 7 jersey on your back, the responsibility of ending the sets well, controlling the tempo of the game, controlling, possession and things like that falls on you. When you're the 6, it doesn't just fall on you. So you've got an out with the 7 there.
Yeah.
But you can come in and out of the game. So like as a 6, you're probably more focused on creating, maybe setting the guys inside and outside you up, creating opportunities and things like that. You're not so much focused on how you're going to manage the end of the set and where you're going to put the ball for your kick and things like that. So there are slight differences to when you wear the different number jersey. That being said, you can, as you said, you can wear the 6 and still have halfback tendencies, and you can still play like a halfback, but there is a slight difference to when you wear each jersey. I just think the accountability as a 7, it just falls solely on your shoulders. But that's
so you'd be.
Yeah, that's
sorry,
where it's
mate,
really important.
Yeah, go ahead, finish off.
Sorry, that's where it's really important to get the makeup of your spine right.
Okay.
I went to Parramatta in 2016, even though it was short-lived, and I went there as a halfback. I played number 7, but I played alongside a guy, Corey Norman, who we both know well, who's a super talented player, and mate, he did the majority of the kicking. He was more like the 7. And I just stuck true to my game style, my strengths in terms of digging into the line, communicating, helping set up play and things like that. But Norms did the majority of the kicking. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really important in the people you put around you.
Okay, so this is great. I love that example, Foz, because this is why I'm high on the move.
Yeah,
I agree with everything you're saying. I think Dill's best asset is his running game.
Yeah.
And when you look at Dill Brown, he's probably the best ball running 6 in the game. There are some really good ones, but he'd be right up there. Jerome's right up there. Money's obviously right up there. And on the flip side, his Corey Norman could be Kalen, because Kalen's probably the best ball playing fullback in the game. So I think they're really going to complement each other well. Kalen kicks really well. He gets on the back end of sets. So he could be the normie for Dylan to allow him to play to his strengths.
Oh, spot on. I was just thinking that you hit the nail on the head. Like, Kalen's got a great kicking game. So when you think about Dylan going up there and wearing the 7 on his back, he might not have to do the bulk of the kicking, because Kalen can just jump in and just keep, punching him down that left-hand side and getting the team into good positions. And as you said, Dill just focuses on running. So, and that's not to say Dill can't grow into that role. He will. If he works hard enough and he applies himself, he might in 2 or 3 years' time be able to do the 99% of the kicking and really manage a team through a game of footy. He's shown he can do that in the past. I'm not saying he can't, but the biggest mistake Newcastle can make and Dill can make is go up there, think I've got to turn into to Andrew Johns or Jonathan Thurston straight away and completely and utterly take over the team. Just do what you do well, which is carry the footy and create space for guys inside. If he does that, it won't matter what number he wears on his back. Newcastle will get the guys around him to pull their weight and do their bit in terms of, helping him manage the team around the park.
Yeah, it's a good shout. All right, let's go from the Newcastle potential 2025-26 Newcastle spine. Let's go to your spine, Foz, and your situation up there at Gold Coast. Now, you're missing some games to start the season with the bicep injury, which we'll get to in a bit. There were rumours that you were going to start the season, if fit, in the 14 jersey. I haven't the team lists have come out now. Maybe Luke can have a look for us while we're talking, but I'd imagine it's going to be JC, Brimo at 6, and Keanu Kinney at fullback. Talk to us about the makeup of that spine. Is there any truth to the rumours that you were going to start on the bench in 14 and that was going to be the spine round 2, regardless of whether you're fit or not?
Yeah, there is, Hoz. So to give you a short rundown, basically I had pretty serious ankle surgery at the end of last season. I had to go in and get a whole lot of ligaments repaired in my ankle that I'd played through last season, and I was going to miss the bulk of the preseason. That being said, Des had sort of reached out to me not long after I'd had that surgery, and we just caught up, mate, face to face. Me and Des have got a long-standing relationship. We can be very open and honest with one another, and we trust each other, and that's a big piece of it. And we basically sat down in the off season and just had a man-to-man chat about where I was at personally, where the club wanted to head long term, and we both know I don't have long left. I've nearly juiced the lemon completely, and gotten every ounce out of my body possibly, that I could have imagined, and I've been really fortunate to play as long as I have, and I still feel like I've got a little bit left in the tank yet. But with all that being said, we got a group of players up here on the Gold Coast that are just jumping out of the ground. I can't stand in these guys' way for too much longer. And at the same time, the club can't afford to lose them. You got Keanu Kinney, and he jumped out of the ground last season. JC, Brimson, they're probably, in a lot of people's eyes, all fullbacks. But as we've seen with Melbourne, they've turned Hughes and Munster into one of the great halves pairings. And we probably looked at that and thought, well, geez, why can't we do the same? And mate, me and Des just had a really genuine chat about where I could potentially fit into the side if that's what we did. And, I was really open to his thoughts and what he thought our game could look like if I did shift out of the halves, and where I could potentially fit in. And we spoke about, coming off the bench, limiting my minutes, playing more of a middle service role, and just sort of helping nurture these guys and help develop their next parts of their careers, and almost, giving them the keys to the team. So, what, as a competitor and a guy that's played for a long time, it's a hard thing to do. You don't want to, step back. It's not something that you naturally want to do, but at the end of the day, you have to have a selfless approach at some point. And for me, this was about the greater good of the club and the team, and where we want to head long term. It's not about the short term success. I could have dug my heels in and said, I want to, finish my career in the 6 and 7 jersey, where I played the bulk of it, and make it all about how I want to finish. But at the end of the day, I think what's better for the club long term is to actually let these guys have the keys to the team. I'm here for this year. I can help nurture that. I can be a sounding board. I can step in if need be, but basically almost stepping back to allow them to thrive. And hopefully that's what they do. If they jump out of the ground and they take control of it, then it's a win-win. So that was basically it in a nutshell, mate. It was about the long-term future of the club and trying to set up sustained success.
Yeah, well, it says a lot about your relationship with Desi, mate. Not only your relationship with him, also, a lack of ego, which you talked about, knowing that you've had a really good run, and the respect for him to come to you nice and early and go, this might be the best for the club long term, and have a proper, one-on-one, like man-to-man conversation. It says a lot about your relationship with you and Des.
For sure, yeah. Look, like I said, it's something at first you probably, get your back up about, but at the end of the day, when you're able to sit back and take it all in, I've been extremely grateful and blessed to, have played for as long as I have, and maybe my calling now is about, helping nurture and develop this next crop that's coming through. As I said, mate, they are an extremely gifted bunch of players. They're Origin players, they're international players, they're the future of the game. So, it's just about allowing those guys to shine.
All right, what about the weekend, mate? They've got looking forward to the Bulldogs. They're playing the Bulldogs in the last game of of the second round. They must be excited for the challenge because the Bulldogs, they look like they've left off where they sort of finished last year. A really strong performance against the Dragons.
Yeah, no, the boys are pumped for this one. I know having the round one bye, the lads at first weren't too keen about it, but I went into training earlier today and they've left for Sydney this morning and they're chomping at the bit. I can tell you they've watched the Doggies play on the weekend. They know what they're up for. They've still got the memories of last year. We went down there round 3. We got dished 30-0. They put it all over us. I know the boys are using that as motivation. They're right up for it, mate. And it's going to be a really good test for us. As you said, the Dogs, I thought, they came on in leaps and bounds last season. They showed the tough, resilient footy team that they want to be. And they're certainly not trying to beat you the easy and quick way. They're happy to play the long game and just fight it out with you until you crumble. And that's what we need. That's the sort of footy team we want to become. And that's something we've worked hard on all pre-season. So we're going to get a great challenge in it in round 2 against them. So, I'm excited for this one. I'm really keen to watch the guys go out there and put into practice everything we've worked on over the pre-season and hopefully start the season with a bang.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, all the best, obviously, for the team that's playing on the weekend. As I mentioned at the top of the episode or the top of the chat here, I got a fan question this week from Daniel Robinson. Foz, how have you been able to deal emotionally and mentally with the setbacks that you've had over the years with your injuries? He said you're one of the more resilient players in the competition, and I know that firsthand because I've played with you and seen some of the stuff that you battled through, mate. Talk to us about the emotional and mental side that, come with the physical pain that you have with injuries as well.
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been really, really difficult at times. And for those that know me and that are around me when, I am facing some of those long-term injuries and those that time off the field and in rehab, it can be a really isolating time. It's sort of the unspoken part of professional sport is those challenges when you are away from the team and you're not training with the guys, and that's why we do what we do. We do it so we can be out on the field competing every day, training alongside our mates. That camaraderie, and when you're injured, that's all taken away from you. You're isolated. You're training one-on-one in the gym. You're not getting that outlet of being on the field around your mates and also getting to do it on the weekend. So you definitely feel alone at times, and it can be really emotionally draining and quite negative. I have some really bad days when I've come back from those injuries, and times where I've just had to vent to those closest to me, or get things off my chest and try and just wait for it to pass, because it's been tough. But I think one thing I've never lost sight of during those injuries is what I want to achieve long term and what I want to get out of my footy career. And I've spoken about it a number of times publicly. It's just about holding on to that and staying in the fight and just waiting for it to pass and then knowing that you can get back out there and be the best player that you need to be for your team. So when I'm out on the sideline for 3 or 4 months rehabbing an injury, I'll just hold on to that thought of getting back out there with the boys, being part of a winning environment again, being, out on the field doing something I love. And that just keeps me going, day after day, week after week. And, and then I just wait till I get back out there, mate, and then just grab hold of it. So, it's certainly tough, as you've seen, you played alongside me. It's a battle, but I love rugby league, so I just keep trying to compete and get everything I can out of my footy career.
Well, we love watching you, mate. We appreciate you jumping on levels for this year. Looking forward to chatting to you fortnightly. All the best for the weekend for the Titans. We're 1 from 1. Money won for us last week, so hopefully the Titans can get one over the Dogs.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. Hopefully, Hulk.
All right. Thanks, Bozzy.
Cheers, Hulk.
Let's kick it off with the Dolphins. They're on tonight, mate, at McDonald's Jones Stadium. So only the one change from the Newcastle team that just beat the Tigers, Mase. Adam Elliott comes onto the bench. Good. He had a bit of a back issue or a neck issue that he needed an extra week on. Brodie Jones drops off. As for the Dolphins, they lose 2 back rowers. Kulikefu Finate Fuiaki, concussion protocols. Yeah. Connolly Lemuelu, he fractured his eye socket. They are both out. So Oren Keeley moves into the back row. I like him as a player, mate, but I'm not too sure about edge back row. From 18th man, and Mark Nichols, who missed out, who pulled out of the game last week due to the cyclone situation last week. He joins the bench. Cody Nicarima will take his starting spot with Sean O'Sullivan being relegated to the extended bench. So those are the changes for the Knights versus Dolphins. Wow. As for the odds from our partners at the tab, Newcastle are $1.55 favourites. The Dolphins are $2.45 underdogs, and the line is 4.5. Bit of a tricky game, Mase. Where are you leaning towards in this game?
Feni Fuiaki and Lemuelu are very damaging players. They work really hard, so they're massive losses. This is Newcastle's first game at Newcastle Stadium, McDonald's Jones Stadium. I don't think they lose this.
Okay.
If they had those boys, I'll be close to picking the Dolphins because I love Nicarima back there. They're dangerous as hell. They're a tough team, but just it makes it a lot tougher without those guys. Because they're dogs. They come off. Lemuelu's been coming off the bench hitting. Feni Fuiaki's been a beast.
He had some really nice touches earlier in that game,
but he sets the tone and he hits hard. When you run into him, you know it. And same as Lemuelu as well. He's got a skill set.
So not only do they lose those guys, pardon me, they also get uncertainty playing on the edges as well. I like Oren Keeley as a player. I'm still not sure what his best position is. I think him and Max Plath are probably better served through the middle.
Yeah.
But, maybe you see Tom Gilbert, who's become an out-and-out middle, started his career on the edge. Maybe maybe he plays more edge as well. Look out for that. But I'm with you, mate. I think the Knights escaped with 2 points. They weren't great against the Tigers. But it's good to get an ugly early win like that in Campbelltown with the opportunity to go back to McDonald's Jones and I guess be a little bit more settled. I do worry about all this news throughout the week, unsettling them. What sort of performance are we going to see from Jack Cogger? Does a guy like Fletcher Sharp now try to overplay his hand because you've got this presence of Dylan Brown on the way? That concerns me.
It can make you a better player.
Yeah.
It can go either way. I can understand your concerns. I like the Dolphins. I just don't like the... Oh man, I was actually going to go the Dolphins because I thought Feni Fuiaki and Lemuelu was going to play, but those guys out, it's still a solid team, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
It's very evenly matched.
It's going to be a good matchup between Herbie Farnworth and Bradman Best.
I just want to know who that connect player in the middle is, like with your middle shape with the block shape. Like Tommy Gilbert's not much known as a ball player.
I think, and this is just a guess, I think Oren Keeley could play middle. It's either going to be Gilbert or Keeley. Probably, yeah. You know what? Keeley's looked all right at times on the edges when he's come on. Probably Tommy Gilbert stays at lock.
Sometimes you don't really need those block shapes. You just float darts from Marshall King straight out to the 5'8". You know what I mean? Or half.
I reckon if you've got a classy 9 like Jeremy Marshall King, it's not as
You don't need
important.
it. You just don't need it. Sometimes, like with those block plays, they're just it's easier to defend.
Yeah.
Because the middles come up and they check and they work so hard from the middle. If you can just get it and just throw a 20-meter zinger, like you're fucking on. I think I'm gonna go the Knights simply because they're at home, and I think they're very hard to beat there, mate.
Yep. I think it's a tricky game, but I'm going to go the Knights as well. All right, let's go to Friday. This game kicks off at 6 p.m. The Warriors are at home at Go Media Stadium against the Seagulls. Webby's stuck solid so far right now with the same 17. Tamade Martin is still listed amongst the reserves, however. We'll wait and see if there are any late changes to that game. As for the Seagulls, very similar. Only the one change. So Josh Allaway comes into prop for Sia Siwa Takiaho, who had a knee complaint at the back end of that game. So this is, I guess, the issue when teams were looking at Takiaho. He's clearly got some lingering knee issues.
Some bad injuries.
It could be a rotation policy for Manly moving forward. The Tab have the Warriors $3.10 underdogs at home. Manly are $1.38 currently, and the line is 8.5. Can Manly or can the Warriors turn around their form against the Raiders in this one, Mase?
No, because Metcalf is still 7. I'm just not happy with that. I just want him to play. I want him to play 6. He's just not an organizer. You know, like he's just.
Do you reckon Webby's potentially giving him one more shot against Manly?
Yeah, I think so. And the Manly is red hot at the moment, and this is obviously a very tough game over there. First Warriors game, the crowd's going to be there. The drums are going to be beaten. It's going to be pretty intense. But I just don't think Manly's very scared of anyone. You know, Paseka's probably going to go up. Fisher Harris. You know, everyone's going to be be pretty intense.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I don't think they're scared of anyone, Manly.
Yeah. What scares me is Fish and Barnett when the reaction from them.
But I like Paseka and I like
Allaway.
Yeah. I just think early ball to Hamole, like just little things like that. And then you got Turbo, you got DCE. That back line is so sharp. They're gonna if they play anything like last week, Chaz Tavanga playing against his ex-side as well, he'd be able to hit every single person. Jakey, their bench is pretty mobile. I don't like the bench for Dylan Walker's good. Jackson Ford, I don't think he's much of a bench play. He's more of a starter. And those other two brothers there, they're in their first or second year. You know, so they're not going to really dish out big minutes where this whole bench here, Bullymore can change the game with his leg speed. Wadsey goes good. Sipkins, he does his job.
Manly historically really play well against Warriors too. Always have.
They've got that history. They play in that grand final. So LIA was great. I think Paseka's got a big job going against Fish. Because Fish should be going against him.
All right. Oh, I love when we agree, and this brings me to my Friday same game multi for this week. I placed this straight after the team list on Tuesday. I've got Manly to win by 13 plus for all the reasons that you're sort of saying there, Mase. I think this is going to be a tough ask. They look really good in their first game. And I really think there's going to be so much emphasis and video on Hamole Olakau'atu on the right, and deservedly so after how dominant they were on that right edge.
Good luck.
It could open up back on the left side. So I'm looking at Lehigh Hopewadi and I'm looking at Tolu Kola on the left edge for the Manly Seagulls. I think if they get an opportunity, and I think there are going to be opportunities because I can imagine Chance Nickel-Klogstad sending that extra number to the left-hand side to account for Turbo, Olakau'atu, Ruben Garrick, Jason Saab on the right. Then there might be some opportunities for the left-hand side.
I think both sides will open up because of what Olakau'atu can do. So if you're in the middle of the field, and I'm suspecting Turbo just to be behind the ruck, and whatever it goes, he'll make that extra man.
Wherever the number is?
Yeah, so bang, bang, and then you got Olakau'atu hitting that early ball, but it could be little dummy pump out the back to Turbo, bang, bang, Sabi down the sideline.
They've got variety on it, don't they?
Yeah, so Turbo will be picking whatever side, whoever flips late or anything like that, because you're going to be, if you're at marker, what you're looking at the 9 first, and you're looking where Turbo is and where DCE is and where Brooks is. There's your cues. But if you're in the middle of the field, they'll make you 5-5 split, especially in the middle of the field, because fullback's not going to be in line. You know what I mean? He'll be back a little bit. So then you can just pick and that's the trickery that they play. And when you've got wily old vets like DCE and Turbo with that pace back and Brooksy as well, he can sweep around as well. Yep. He's great at that. And Turbo could go the other way. Then they might flip another one and then you get that 6-4 split. And then you can, it's just, or you can hit Olukwatu and then bang down because he gets such quick play the balls. He can just hit on that the outside dash line and then fucking short side again. It's very, very hard to defend what they did last week. If that's the blueprint, that's what they're giving out every week. Good luck, because they're testing you on all levels. Middle third, that one, fucking short sides, everything, mate. So I think Paseka needs another big game, Alloy, and I think Fish and Barnett will be taking this shit personally. And we'll fucking see what you got, young kid.
All right, let's see if the Warriors can dish up a really proud performance for their home crowd for the first game back after a couple of weeks off with Vegas. All right, let's get to the Panthers versus Roosters, Friday, 8 p.m. This one's at Panthers' home ground for the season, CommBank Stadium, mate. A couple of big ins as well. Brian Toto returns from a hamstring injury, which sees Paul Alamotti move back to the centres. Yep. Luke Garner reverts to the bench. Casey McLean has recovered from his HIA, so he will be starting on the wing as per in Vegas. Liam Henry is also nearing return, and he is on the extended bench. So for the Roosters, no Victor Radley. He's sidelined with a concussion. Salisi Fakiti named to start. Makahisi Makatoa has been added to the bench. Billy Smith is also listed amongst the reserves. So you had your question marks on Mark Newik and Nitawasi, Mase. Maybe we see Billy Smith in this game. Hugo Savala is again the 18th man. This has all the makings of a strong performance from the Penrith Panthers, who are $1.09 favourites with Tab. Sydney Roosters are $7.50 underdogs.
I don't think they haven't been that for 10 years.
Nah, this is crazy line for the Roosters. And the line is 20.5.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is fucked up. Obviously, I'm going to be going Penrith.
Can Roosters keep it close, mate?
No. I mean, for the first probably 20, I reckon. I want to see more direct running. I need more help from Mark, the number 3. I'm not even going to try and attempt the last name. Dom Young needs to straighten up. He can't run sideways in play twos. Penrith, they've done that. They'll make him go that way. He needs to get one off the ruck and just jam in between A and B and cop your licks. Like when he runs sideways, it fucks up everything. So he needs to copy his hits, mate.
Which edge do they kick to Tupou then because of that, or are they going to kick to
They'll kick to where
that cage?
You want Dom Young getting the ball on play 2.
Coming out on the yard.
Yeah, and just so if he's going to go direct, it's a lot harder to hit. But as soon as he goes sideways, mate, they just drag in, they get under hooks, and then and then he's on his back. You lose 2 or 3 meters. And then the next guy's going to get pumped. Like, that's what play twos. The play twos are the hardest hit up in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you got to tough it up, you know? Like, that's why, like, guys like Brian Toto and even Toops does it really well. Coates and Warbrick, all the back 5, they love it, mate.
And if you kick to Dom Young too, you got to make Toops travel all the time to come over and take that play.
Toops is 33. Yeah. I mean, he's still got it, but I mean, like, you know, and then Teddy's going to get in there, like. The young kid, Toya, he'll be in thereabouts, but like they need to give their middles enough space so they can get back on this third tackle instead of like they don't even have time to walk. They've got to jog back because like it's tackle 3 or 4 and they've made 15 meters. And you don't think Penrith's going to do that on purpose? Like Leota Smith, they're going to just fucking jam you, especially Liam Martin. What Liam Martin's going to do to their left edge.
CommBank's a fast pitch too. Yeah, I think this makes Penrith even scarier this year at CommBank.
Yeah, it's a fucking dry track. Yeah. It's like
sometimes the heavy conditions of Penrith can just like slippery, sort of slow the pace down and slip around a little bit. I reckon at CommBank, there's going to be factors where you like don't have as strong of a home crowd behind you because it's not. Man, yeah.
I mean, the riff.
This could get proper scary for the Panthers early on. I mean, for the Roosters early on.
Yeah, it could. I mean, if they score a couple of quick tries, your confidence level is like, fucking hell, here we go again. But I need some forwards there to stand up. You got to stand up against Penrith. They're bullies. Leota's going to lead it. Liam Martin's going to lead it. Yoey's going to do it. Kenny's going to smack the shit out of you. Sorensen's on the edge. Alamotti's back in the centres. Tungo, that late little cross there, and that's their little play. And then Cleary drops back real quick, and then you got the short side. It's like,
as good as they have been over the last couple of years, Penrith have been a little bit more complacent in games like this where they're expected to really blow out a team and it's like a blowout and they get to it, but it's not as convincing as you'd think. But then whenever anyone is expected to challenge them, they blow those teams out. Yeah. Like I remember the Roosters over the last couple of years, everyone's like, Roosters are stacked, Roosters have got a mad team. Remember like Dylan Edwards would put on a show without Nathan Cleary being there?
The bigger the game, the bigger big players, big dogs, they rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Like Vegas. I was like, yeah, Cronulla's got these guys. I honestly thought,
Cronulla was the only team I got wrong.
I was like, Cronulla's going to get these guys. And then they went, you know what, we're in Vegas, big lights, everyone's watching us, fuck you, we're going to give it to you.
This could easily be 50.
This could be, yeah.
The Dragons versus Rabbitohs, they kick off Saturday at 3 p.m. and that's at Wynn Stadium. The only change is Blake Laurie, who comes and returns from a hamstring injury for Ryan Couchman, who did his ACL. As for the Rabbitohs...
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. He's a good young up-and-coming player too, Ryan. The Rabbitohs also miss out on... Jack Whiten, who's suspended. So Fletcher Myers comes into the centres to replace him. Bailey Bentley-Hape will make his NRL debut on the wing in place of Tyrone Munro, who had surgery on his collarbone and will miss the next 8 to 10 weeks. And then they've still got Englishman Lewis Dodd, who has served his suspension. He's amongst the reserves, but Jamie Humphries has retained his starting spot and well deserved too, by the way. Dragons, this is a tricky one, Mase. Yeah. The tab has the Dragons at $1.47 favourites with a couple of big outs for South Sydney on top of already missing Latrell and Cam Murray. South's at $2.70 underdogs. The line is 6.5, so about a converted try. That's the way.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. When I look at the St George, when I looked at the game last week, and I just looked at the size of their four-pack. Couchman, Gula, Leilua, Sua, DeBellin. It's a very big pack. You know what I mean? And did you see the Bulldogs pack? Very small.
Yeah.
Not as big, and they attack in numbers, right?
Yeah, the kicking game plan was crucial.
They attack in numbers, right? If Emre Gula's a big boy and so is like Couchman and everyone like that, you know, they hit and then they hit. One hits the ball, one hits the ribs, one hits the legs, slow to play the ball down, right? Because... yeah, I think they're just too big. I see a place where that Liddell can start at lock.
Little?
Yeah, Little. Yeah, Little can start at lock. I'd put Jack DeBellin at front row and I'd drop either Couchman or Gula to the bench.
Okay.
I think he adds a lot more pace with the ball. Cookie can, you can just really quicken the pace up in the middle.
What about doing what the Bulldogs do with having like a guy like Little could replicate Kurt Mann and come on at the 25-minute mark?
Or something like that. Yeah. But I just think they're all similar players there. Lucci Leilua, like he needs to lose 10 kilos. Like he's a big man.
But he's always been that big
I know,
body.
but like when he was at the Cowboys a couple of years ago, he got back row of the year, killed it. He looked about like at least 8 or 9 kilos lighter. His skill set is one of the fucking best as a back rower. Jaden Sewer is an absolute animal. So is Jack. They just need to figure out the balance of that side. I think, as I said, they need to go a little bit smaller because Gula and Couchman are very big, but they're not quick. They're not fast. They're not powerful. They're just really big bodies. And you can line speed straight up on them and just fucking collect legs and hit the body and like really slow the ruck down.
Okay.
I still think I'm going to back St George.
Yep.
Because I just don't think Souths are that good. But I just think
Souths are missing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Souths are missing a lot. And then you got like, Blake Laurie and Fatala Mariner and all that. They're big guys as well. But I think I can find a place with Little at lock and DeBellin in there and then move one of these other guys back to the bench.
Okay.
I just think they can play a little bit of small ball like most teams are doing. Speed the ruck up. Because Little's he's pretty thick. He's obviously showed he's got a lot of pace.
He's not little.
He's definitely not little. He can definitely make a difference starting. Because I thought he was their best player last year, to be honest, in the middle. He played really well.
I thought he had a good season.
And he's the sort of guy who can get really quick play the balls, and that means he can get Cook into the game.
Yep. All right, I don't hate it. I'm with you. I'm on the Dragons.
Play a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I just think with some of the players that are missing, I thought Kaloam and Tungy as well. We didn't really give him a good a good shout out, but he was so good against the Dolphins. For me, he was their player of the season last year too.
I'm not really going with trial form, but what they did to South's right edge was pretty embarrassing, right?
Yeah. So let's see if they can have the same success that they had in the trials.
And Gutho was killing it, and they were really well. But Lockie Ilias needs to step his game up.
You need to see some cash money on that left edge.
I need to see that every fucking try. I got some bit of mail. Okay. It is a little bit about like the contract.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, it is. I did some homework yesterday, some people that know him.
Okay.
Yeah, so a guy knows him very personally against, knows Tua Poloto. He goes, he wants...
He wants an upgrade?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Show me the money.
Plus, I think he's just about that anyway. But they reckon he was the most humblest kid.
He's the best, mate.
Ever. Then this all of a sudden, everyone was shocked at what he was doing, but they said, I think he's, wants a bit of a pay rise. So...
I think he's going to have some joy on the weekend, so he could be getting a pay rise.
Yeah, good. I want to see the try celebration every game till he gets a pay rise. Pay that man his money.
I'm on the Dragons as well. I like the Dragons down there. I think they'll be too strong for a banged up Rabbitohs team. Even though the Rabbitohs with Wayne is a scary proposition. All right, let's go to the Cowboys versus the Sharks, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. This one's back up at North Queensland Country Bank Stadium. So we've got Jason Tomalolo, who is still listed amongst the reserves. He is returning he had a Liz Frank injury too, by the way, mate. That's why Tomalolo has been held back. Jake Clifford is also a part of his 18th man. He has been listed as having a hernia problem during the offseason. And a huge one, probably the biggest dropping of the week. Kai O'Donnell replaces Jeremiah Knight in the back row for the only change for the Cowboys. So that's huge.
I saw that and I was like, wow, that's a proper dropping.
Yep.
He had probably his poorest game. But I thought like in that trial game, I was like, up for a big year. When he played against Melbourne, absolutely looked sharp as hell.
By the way, Fletcher, the Sharks, their coach, Craig Fitzgibbon, has named an unchanged 17 from the Vegas. So, with that form line, the North Queensland Cowboys are $3.10 underdogs at home. Cronulla are $1.38, and the line is 9.5.
Yeah, I don't see Cowboys bouncing back from that terrible loss last week. They've got too much strike power. I think they'll be a little bit embarrassed about what happened in Vegas, I reckon.
You think?
I thought they were solid. I think their back five will be. Their back five got dominated. I think, Mulatano...
You put that extra teriyaki mesher on them, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Mulatano had a pretty ordinary game compared to his standards. Well, Kennedy was great. Stone Street needs a fucking...
Jesse Raymond was awesome.
Raymond, he was great. Hero, quiet. Nico's like, okay, well, fucking, is it my team?
Huge game for Nico and Trindle.
Is it my game? Is it my team? Or does Braden run this team? Because at that moment there when we needed Nico to fucking go, this is my team, Trindle took over. And I know you can say, oh yeah, he's got the hot hand or whatever the fuck it is. Nah, you both go at it.
Well, when you see him, we've just seen a Manly side be really dominant on the right edge. Yeah. Nico will be looking at that with Nikara.
Yeah.
Jesse Ramey, he'll be liking his chances on the right edge this week.
Get the ball, mate.
Yeah.
I need Nico with the ball 30 times.
I think he could go off in this game.
I hope he does.
I think Nico could go
because
off
if he doesn't, he's in control of his own destiny. He can go out there if he gets the ball 10 times and runs like 3 times. And then Trindle like dominates and they get beat or something like that, or even if they don't get beat, they're going to come after him. They will. I know what they're like, and they're just waiting for him to fall. But he's in control of that. I think they're going to be hard to stop for Noel Blake. Who's going to stop him? Is it McLean, McIntyre? I mean, I know who will be trying to, Ruben Cotter. But good luck trying to stop him near the line.
Do you think it's panic stations early from Rocket Rod?
Yeah,
dropping Jeremiah all the way out of the team.
Does he deserve to get dropped?
Jeez, he's had some defence deficiencies for sure, but it's a huge call.
Dropped.
It's 19th man. Like he could maybe still be a late inclusion, but
not sure if he.
It's a statement.
Pretty sure he played Origin last year. Right?
It's a statement.
It is a huge statement. This is what it is. It's a statement. Yep. Like don't care about your resume or anything like that. If you're not doing the job, you're not in the team.
If
I'll
it was
get someone else to do it.
If it was Wayne Bennett doing this, would we bat an eyelid? Probably not. But because it's Todd Payton, we're like...
Well, they all take, little leaves out of these, all the pros, all the best coaches.
Payton's done this a number of times over
Yeah, you don't give a
Not
fuck.
Nanai. Not Nanai.
Talmalolo.
Yeah, Jace is at the end of his
been
career.
banged up. This guy's in his prime.
He's 23-year-old
Jace had like fucking
Australian,
Jace had 8
Queensland
years
back
of
row.
like the best forward in the world.
Yeah.
This guy's had like 3 years in the game. And you probably expect, he's probably putting him up at such a high pedestal.
They paid him $900,000 a couple of years ago or last year. So
he's got probably the highest. He's probably the highest skill set in the back row.
Yeah.
In the comp. Like he's a top 3 back rower. So if you're dishing out that shit, this is what happens. Sometimes you need a kick in the ass. All right, see how he reacts.
Sharks.
Yeah, Sharks.
I'm with you. All right, let's move on to
a better effort from Cowboys. I hope so.
You think so?
You're up there. I mean, if they get beat by 10, so be it.
If you're a player in that locker room and you can see Jeremiah and I can get dropped, then anyone can. Raiders versus Broncos, Saturday, 7:35 p.m. This one's at GIO Stadium. So the Raiders got a couple of big outs. Joseph Tarpany, he's missing in this game. So Joseph Papali'i, who started in that game, will again start, but Morgan Smithies will... he'll be in a starting jersey. Morgan Smithy goes back to his starting lock position. Matty Nicholson is the new guy on the bench. And Xavier Savage is missing in this game after getting a one-match game ban. So Albert Hopewadi, who missed Vegas due to, I believe it was the birth of his young family, he is a straight swap for Xavier Savage. As you'd expect, the Broncos are 1-17 that beat the Roosters. Madge is sticking with that 17 that was dominant. The Canberra Raiders are $4.20 underdogs at home. The Brisbane Broncos are $1.23 favourites, and the line is 10.5.
If Tarpany and Xavier Savage was playing, I'd be sitting on the fence with this game. Regardless of how good the Broncos are, I just know how Brisbane can get you into Canberra can get you into a real ugly arm wrestle down there as well. It's just, I'm still going with the Broncos. I think they got the hot hand, but I just think, just losing Tarps is a big loss, mate. He's so responsible for a lot of meters, a lot of cleanup work, offloads here, quick play the balls, everything like that. Because if you put him in there, Papa goes back to the bench or the bra goes back, you just look at that pack, Big Papa would be going at Payne Haas. He could probably stop him.
About it.
The bra would go at it, but Papa could probably stop Haas. You know what I mean?
Hudson Young versus Ricky's going to be grubbing as fuck.
Mate, they just got
those two are going to get in a fight. They're
nearly
nearly going to get in a fight nearly every time they clash against each other.
Who's that? Huddy
Young into Jordan Ricky.
Yeah.
Imagine how much push and shove's going to be at Micah for those two.
He's just in your face, isn't he? I still like the Bronx because I'm going off last week and they look pretty fucking awesome.
They look pretty good,
but Canberra, they're going to give a fight. I'm not going to be surprised if we sit here and they win 16-12 or something like that. Just a real ugly game. But no Tarps, so no win.
All right, so my same game multi for Saturday is going to be the Broncos. By the way, the money has come in for the Canberra Raiders as well, because when I placed this bet on Tuesday afternoon after the team list, the Broncos for the line was minus 12.5. Now that's come into 10.5, but I have Broncos minus 12.5, so 13 plus the Broncos for me. And I've got Jesse Arthurs and Selwyn Cobbo both scoring a try like they did in round one, because I think the power game through the middle is going to open it up for the edges. I think with this new and improved Broncos pack, Paddy Carrigan up front, it's going to be so stressful for the middles trying to contain the ruck that we're going to see multiple times this year Selwyn Cobbo and Jesse Arthur's out the back of shape, just strolling over for tries, almost walking over, because there's going to be so much emphasis put around controlling these middles, controlling your man Payne Haas, controlling my man Paddy Carrigan, and even guys chipping in like Jordan Ricky and Jasheski on the edges. That it's going to really open it up on the edges. So
people don't understand because of that. Just say when Payne Haas and Carrigan run, 2 in, one's going to be on the ground. He's got to find his way back really quick. It's line prep, and then you got guys that are so smart, like fucking Reynolds and Ben Hunt, and they'll just choose the right side where to attack. It's very hard. So
they might even strip him that easy. That might even a little dink and dunk chip over, because
they're going to have everything.
Everyone's
Ben Hunt looked outstanding. So did Reynolds, and it was like they were playing with kids. It'd be a bit harder against the Raiders, but they've got a big job. Big Pup and Horsburgh need to like really control, because Carrigan either gets a quick play of the ball, or like Jensen comes on, everyone's getting quick play. Kobe Heavinger gets quick play of the balls.
Willison.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just doesn't stop.
All right, we're both on the Broncos for that game. Let's go to Sunday, and it's going to kick off at 4 p.m. at CommBank Stadium again, because the Eels are at home for this game. So Sean Lane, this is some huge guys have been, a number of players have been dropped for the Parramatta Eels. Sean Lane returns. He had a knee complaint in the off-season at the expense of Kelma Tuolangi. Shout out and congratulations to Jordan Samrani. He'll make his debut on the wing.
Good kid.
He's a legend.
Love him. Mate, he was at the Bulldogs for the last couple of years. Coming from Cronulla. Mate, just a really good kid. I'm so happy for him. A couple of Ricos and setbacks and everything like that. Fucking well done.
Yep. So
well
Jordan Samrani will make his debut on the wing at the expense of Jake Tungor. Katoni Katoga, he also spent some time at the Bulldogs, mate. He is the new guy on the bench at the expense of Charlie Geimer, who's been dropped too. I thought it's a little bit hard done by, because I thought
the blue headgear?
No, he had that's Riley Smith, the hooker.
Riley Smith, okay.
West Tigers, Uppy Coruscant is back from suspension. So is Dream Buller with a shoulder injury, and centre Stafford Toa is also back and good to go. So last week's debutant Tristan Hope has been dropped out of the team. Solomona Fatape makes way for Stafford Toa, and Mason of the Heath variety. He has been dropped for Dream Bull. I knew you'd like that one. Where are you going on this one? This is a tricky old game for you.
Buller and Appy.
Yeah.
This is what I want to see. You know, I know Parham have made some changes, but you're not bringing in anyone that's fucking outstanding.
Well, the tab
bringing in rookies, like Sam Roney's a rookie.
Yep.
You got some other people, and you've still got like
Sean Lane's vet.
Sean Lane's a vet, but who's a 7?
Still Volkman and Brown.
Yeah, that's a problem there.
All right, so Parramatta are $2.15 underdogs at home. Tigers, believe it or not, $1.70 favourites at CommBank.
So they should be.
The line is 2.5.
So they should be. That'll be a fast game. Is this on Sunday?
It is on Sunday at 4 p.m.
It's going to be hot. Going to be hot. So I think I'm really excited to see the full strength West Tigers. I think Buller's going to be different. Appy's going to change that whole middles. I want to see Galvin. I want to see Luai. This is what I want to see, and I'm going to go with the Tigers. I think it's going to be a blowout.
You think it's going to be a blowout?
Yeah, I think the Tigers. I think the Tigers got some points in them.
I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I don't think it's necessarily going to be West Tigers completely blowing the Eels. I think it's going to go back and forth and going to be a high. I'm going the points over in this one, but I'm on the Tigers too. I think the Tigers were just missing a bit of Dream Buller and Appy Carousel polish.
Buller's back.
Our New South Wales Cup forward pack is...
Who is it?
So it's got Widdamoo at prop, Joey Lussick hooker, Ryan Madison prop, Kelma Tuolagi, Bryce Cartwright at the back row, and Charlie Geimer.
Get fucked. It's like a first grade.
Yeah.
Is that like a statement from Rolls? What's the...
You got to do the job, mate.
He's still cleaning out, for sure.
Yeah, I think...
Looks like Matto, though? God.
No, I'll be like some of those guys, like a Bryce Cartwright, I'd want him in the first grade team. He's got a bit of X factor. You know, he had a good year last year. I don't know what he's done wrong.
Yeah.
So no.
He's still cleaning out, mate.
I think it just reminds me a little bit of what Ciro did. He didn't inherit, like he's inherited all these players. So it's going to take him a year or two. So the Parramatta will be very patient with Rolsey.
Another one, Latufanu, the 5'8" I forgot about him being at Tigers. That's another half to throw in that little merry-go-round mix.
Yeah.
Latufanu.
Oh, yeah.
You going Tigers? Yeah.
Tigers.
Let's go. So I'm going some points. I think it's going to be hot and there's going to be plenty of tries in this game.
Be a lot of fatigue out there.
A lot of
35 degrees.
Long distance tries.
So 35 degrees in the east means 40 out west.
Yeah, it's going to be hot. Hopefully it cools down a little bit later on at 6:15 p.m. for the Bulldogs versus the Titans at Belmore Sports Ground. The Bulldogs welcome back Josh Curran, who served his one-match ban. So Harry Hayes, who was really good in that game.
I thought Hayes was great.
He shifts the 18th man.
That sucks.
Kurt Mann is again named to start it like, but it could be a late swap with Jamin Salmon, just like it was last week. As for the Titans, so Regan Campbell-Gillard is in the front row alongside Mo Fotuaika for his club debut. Skipper Tino Fasua Malaawi. This is the game that Tino went down last year, round three against the Bulldogs. AJ Brimson and Jaden Campbell are the 6 and 7, as discussed by our man Kieran Foran on the chat that we had. And David Fafita starts from the bench, Mase. He's on the bench again. And I've said this before. I think he likes coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Shout out to another journeyman, Brock Gray, 28 years old, will debut after arriving at the club on a training trial deal. He has played 130 games in the New South Wales Cup.
Congrats,
shout out to Brock Gray. You're obviously on the Bulldogs, Mase, in this one.
I'm not sitting here with like full confidence.
Yeah,
we're at Belmore. I know that it's the spiritual home of the Bulldogs. We're very hard to beat there. You don't want to lose. We just want to make that a fortress, and we have been for the last couple of years. But Titans are no joke.
All right, the Bulldogs are $1.44 favourites. The Gold Coast Titans are $2.80. The line is 7.5.
Right. What would your game plan be if you're the Dogs?
If it was the Dogs,
if you're the Dogs,
I know they kicked to the left a whole heap last week. I probably like my chances more on the right against CANBERRA. You want to take away. I think you want to get him involved as much as possible, and then bringing Keanu Kinney off that edge as well.
We've got to stop their middles, mate.
Yeah,
we've got to stop Tino. He looks like he's on a bit of a tear from going off that first
from the doco that you watched.
First doco, and then like just how he looked in that first trial. I was just like, fuck, he's back. He's leaner. He's bigger. He's stronger. He looks more agile. So he's had a good nearly a year off. A year off an ACL.
I think if you can strangle this team with the uncertainty around the 7 and 6, and they're
field position,
can Jaden Campbell and Brimo game manage a game if it's not like front foot?
Because they'll front foot that whole time against Dolphins, right? And the Bulldogs will strangle you and just fucking kick, chase, ball you, put numbers in tackles. Tino's going to get the ball a fair bit of times. He probably wants a revenge game, right? So like he's probably going to get the ball a shitload of times, and not one man can stop Tino, right? So you've got to go at him with numbers. If Sam Hughes is playing, if Matt King's going, that first contact needs to be strong. Then another one comes from fucking one side, hits ribs, another one hits legs.
Still no Sam Hughes, mate. Saluka Fafita's name
he needs to do a job
last week.
Do a job on him. Like Fodawaker. Don't sleep on him. He's the one who gets their set started.
Quick play the balls.
So he gets quick play the balls for Tino, right? So Tino gets on the back on a quick play the ball. He can step across the ruck. He's got a little nice pass there. He can go out the back. So he's really developed into like the premier prop. Him and Payne, I think, are the best two props. He's got a skill set. He's got a big motor. He can bang you in defence. So we've got to stop him. You got to manage it. Some players you can't just completely stop. You've got to manage the damage and go. If you can limit him, get it marker, and just chase down. And that's what we do really well. We hunt from the middle. We hunt really hard. Everything's an effort play. If he's 5 meters from the ruck, markers are going to get him. So he needs to understand that. He probably needs to get a little bit wider, or off a tip, off a 7 or something like that. Try and get at our 4 man, in between the 3 and 4 man. Play the lead with Fermor leading, someone out the back. I'm not giving him any tips. Fuck that. Don't do that. So that's the sort of footy that he would need to play to try and get, because we're going to try and get at him real quick.
Yeah.
It's a sprint as soon as he gets the ball, because we want to get him. We don't want him to wind up. Then you got to watch for the Brimson, the offloads, the Campbells. Fuck, mate, it's dangerous.
Sounds like you're a little bit worried about this.
I'm very worried about this side. I'm very worried about that side, because they're quick, they're big, they're strong,
fresh,
and they've got footy, they're fresh.
Yep.
Right? That's a dangerous team, mate. It's a very dangerous team.
They'll be hungry.
Fafita coming off the bench. Like, we don't have a Fafita coming off the bench. That dude could ruin teams by himself.
All right, that's good.
Doesn't get the 20 minutes of because in 20 minutes, there's not many players, unless you're a Payne Haas and that team, that can make a really big dent. Comes off the bench and just fucking does what he wants.
Yep.
So it's a very scary team. We need to be on our game.
All right. Well, that's the reason I like that, because I'm on the Titans.
You be on the Titans.
I'm on the Titans with the start.
Mate, fucking...
I'll probably take, I like the price for the Titans head-to-head in this as well, but I think it's for all those reasons. I think the Bulldogs are going to try to strangle them. I don't think they're going to blow out the Titans.
No, it's not. This is going to be a real tight game where we're just going to be complete our sets, kick to corners, fucking limit their field position coming out. We want them kicking on their 30 or 40, and then just play this high speed game, mate, and try and blow their middles off the field, and then get into their red zone, execute, build pressure, and fucking just be methodical with it. That's how you beat these teams. Otherwise, you want to go tit for tat with these guys at Brimson, and they love playing that touch footy shit. They're the best at it.
My Sunday same game multi for everything you just said there, Mase, is I think the Gold Coast can keep this nice and close, so I'm going to take the plus 7.5 that is available right now. I think it's going to be unders because that's the defensive battle that the Bulldogs want to get into, and Desi's going to know that. So they're going to be prioritising defence. But I like the way, well, if there's any way that you can attack, I think the Bulldogs' right edge is going to come under fire. So give me last year's leading try scorer, Alofiana CANBERRA, anytime as well. So that is my Sunday same game multi for this week. My best multi of the week, I think Manly are a good price. I placed this on Tuesday night. It's slightly changed as now. I got Manly head-to-head. I got that for $1.40. I think that's changed a little bit. I like Teague Wilton anytime try scorer against the against the North Queensland Cowboys. He'll be playing outside of Braden Trindle. And at the time of putting the bet on Tuesday, I had Gold Coast plus 8.5. That's slightly come into 7.5 now, so I get an extra point there. That is my best multi of the week. Good luck to everyone who has a bit of a double over the weekend. Good luck to you and your Bulldogs, Mase. And I'm a little bit worried. I'm more worried about my Eels than I am about my Manly Sea Eagles.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.